Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He eats 5 McRibs in a single day, looks like John Turturro if he were the victim of a killer bee attack. Beef loaf. He made out with Louise Post while Richard Patrick watched. He's a consumer of fine beers, and he's anti-Paw Patrol. My Sox Summer. And your host. He still thinks the most racist thing in American history was leaving Shaq off the Dream Team. Teresi E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome everyone to another episode of the From the 108 podcast. Get your drinks ready, and let's talk some baseball and bullshit. My Sox Summer, how you feeling, baby?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? It's a great day. It was actually, if we had the weather that we had today in the city of Chicago, I would be so happy on opening day if it's the same weather. It was 40 degrees, sunny, no crazy wind. It was still cold, but we could have got a game in. It would have been fun.
The no wind, no rain is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It was great. In the sun.
Beef loaf, what's the word?
I'll be honest, I'm pretty bummed because on Monday I went to the McDonald's on 35th Street in Bronzeville, and they were out of McRibs.
Because you ate them
And,
all.
and if this is curtains,
Wait.
You literally ate them all.
So when you showed up, they were out of McRibs, or you ate them out of McRibs, and then you sat there and went, why don't you have more McRibs?
No. I had Bonita Stakey's basketball practice, of which I'm the head coach. After the practice, I drove over there to get dinner, and I was excited to order 2 McRibs, and they didn't have any. So I'm worried that it might be curtains on McRib season. If it is, after my fast start, I'm going to close out with only 11 McRibs. So I was really bummed thinking about this all week until just moments ago, Polish with extra onions taught me what spit roast means. So now I'm in a much better mood.
I kind of want to take a picture of the waves going on the recording, because it's almost like a heart rate monitor for Beef Loaf. When he starts talking about McRibs, like it's
Some big thumping.
yeah, it's like the
808 bass.
it's like Slayer coming in on a song. Like it gets like it just pushes everything to the max.
I apologize. I got excited. I might have even gotten slightly erect, but it went back down when I realized there were no McRibs anymore.
Chubbed.
Chubbed out.
Ooh, baby.
But the 31st Street McDonald's, you said, right?
No, 35th Street in Bronzeville.
Oh, so that's like a legit.
That's a full-fledged McDonald's.
that's a
That's not an
full-fledged
express or anything like that.
Man, yeah, that might be death from McRibs.
I'm worried about
That
it.
might be it. We might have seen your last McRib until the pork prices go lower again, and then they have McRibs again.
Yes.
So let me just remind everyone at home who's sitting there having some drinks this fine weekend. Here's the drinking game rules. If My Sox Summer does not know a player, you got to take a drink. If Beef Loaf uses an advanced metric, or if me and My Sox Summer call out that Beef Loaf has walked away from the table, you got to take a drink. If I swear, or if I use the phrase, here's the thing, which count from Slim Mick on the last episode, 29, here's the thing.
He actually.
I don't even notice it. So it's not like it's something I could even stop doing.
29 times?
My Sox Summer, he actually said if you use derivatives of it, because he didn't say the exact phrase every time, but he said sort of
Because I said here's 2 things a few times.
Right. So he said if you use the derivatives, it would have been upwards of 40.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
It's like playing King's Cup.
drink beer, not shots.
Right.
Don't do
Yeah.
shots to this. We don't
No,
want anyone to pass
absolutely
away
not.
from this.
Unless you only do shots for the first 15 minutes of the show.
So speaking of drinking,
Yeah.
Yes.
what are we drinking tonight?
So we got a couple local guys here. I have first one is from Noon Whistle. It's a Cosmo Pale Ale. Noon Whistle is up in Lombard, Illinois, and I haven't tasted this yet. Beef Loaf, you got one open, and I think you have one open too.
Yeah, it's
Treasy.
pretty nice.
What's
Tasty.
it
I
taste
like it. I'm enjoying it.
I'm still drinking the coffee stout from Lagunitas that we started the game with, or started the show with.
It's kind of like a game. It's
is
our
right.
own little drinking game.
It is.
The second beer we have tonight is called the Hell Kitty Kitty, It's from Weiner Beer Company, which is in Chicago, and they actually make a beer for Connie's. This is a Belgian-style pale ale. We have not gotten to that yet. When we get to that, we will we'll let you know what's going on.
That's back of the yards, right?
I think so.
That is back of the yards.
Yes, it is. It's on 47th and something, right?
I have ingested the beer they make for Connie's, and it goes extremely well with the middleweight pizza.
I think that's a Lake Hub is the same thing. They just rebranded, I think.
Very nice to know. I don't know what that was, but I'm in.
sorry.
I believe you, but
Useless
before we move
information
on,
just pours out of my head.
why the fuck is it a big deal if I walk away from my mic when I'm not talking?
It's
You
not,
motherfuckers.
It's not. I'm just trying to come up with things that you do a lot.
Oh, okay.
Other than suck, that's the thing that I came up with the most.
The last time it was he was asking you a question. He was like,
and you just fucking walked away.
He goes, hey, where are you going? And you're like, oh, sorry, fam. And he came back.
Oh, no, it wasn't a question that I knew was directed at me. That was my problem. I apologize for that. I didn't know it was coming my way.
It was a question about a player. Who else would it be directed
That's a good call. It's my fault.
All right.
I want to shout out to Mr. Han and Wally Money. I have notes today for the podcast.
Yes.
I have a lot of things written down, or actually typed out, just so you know, trying to be professional for you guys. Fucks.
The notes look like when you have a high school paper and it's got to be a certain amount of pages. It's like triple spaced and the font size is like 40, just to make sure you stretch it out.
The font size is...
I think it's just because my sex number is blind, but that's how you would write a high school paper.
Like it's like when you pick up like a 60 or 70-year-old man's phone and look at it.
Yeah.
This is the font that they have on the text.
That's right.
Where it's like, how do you fit more than one word on your screen?
You don't.
It's just gigantic.
All right. Hey, GFY, both of you guys. All right.
Beautiful. So I wanted to call out the date that is today because there's so much shit going on in MLB that some of the stuff we're going to say in the next, 4.5 hours of this is not going to make sense come tomorrow. So tonight is Wednesday the 12th. We haven't been online since about 7 p.m. Yeah, so if shit went down, like the last thing we saw was Tanner Roark went to the Reds. After that, if shit happened, sorry, we didn't know about it. So if we talk something stupid because of that, we apologize. If we talk stupidly about something else, we do not apologize.
Yeah, that's correct.
So speaking of being the 12th, tomorrow is the 13th and will be the first day of our 12 days of 108 Miss. So we will be sending out.
Fucking right.
We'll start sending out some Christmassy blogs. So you'll see some stuff in the next few days. We're all the way up right into Christmas, and then the 21st, which is the Friday before Christmas. This is peak Christmas weekend like lineup, right? Because Friday's the 21st, 22nd and 23rd of the weekend. 24th and 25th, most people have off. Some people got to work the 24th. I get it. Some on the 25th too. But most people have that whole stretch off. And what better way to kick it off? You come out to Low Res Brewery, 2101 South Carpenter, 6 p.m., and you hang with us and Sox Machine and NWI Steve from Loop Sports. We're going to be doing a Festivus panel. So we're going to air our grievances on the Sox, whether it be what happens on the field, off the field, in the stands.
Under the stands.
Ooh, baby.
Hello.
And then we're also
Smokers Lounge.
We're also going to have a few other things. We won a Luis Robert signed baseball from the Kannapolis Intimidators.
Yes.
We are going to give that away, but the way we're going to do this, we're having a White Elephant gift exchange.
Yes.
So bring some goofy-ass White Sox shit that you have. Wrap it up. Nothing that your dog's chewed on or that someone's pissed on or anything weird like that. Just like something that you haven't really used. It's in good condition. Wrap it up. Bring it there. You'll exchange it. One of the presents will have a Luis Robert signed baseball in it.
Yes.
Assuming we get that sometime soon.
Yes, that's correct.
If not, I will sign a baseball, and you'll have a Chirizi signed baseball, which is just as good.
I have some China balls that we can use for that.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, we won't even use a real good ball. We will use a cheap ball. I think it suits you.
And now we just heard just today for this event, Taco Burrito King is going to be in the house. So
Hell
actually,
yes.
TBK.
they're going to be out on the patio. So bring some cash, because if you
Yes.
want some tacos, some burritos, maybe quesadilla, whatever you're into, they're going to be out there. They're going to be cooking up some shit. It's going to be awesome. So 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. there. Beefloaf tells us he's not going to go out afterwards, but me and My Sock Summer, I'm sure, we'll find our way over to Skylark and do some damage.
Beefloaf will find his way over there, too.
Or somewhere else. You know,
I've got to travel the next day for the holiday. I won't be a pussy. I'll come out, but I got to just take it easy.
I got
can't
you.
get too
I
bad,
got you. But Pilsen's a hotbed for drinking, so
It is.
We will do a good job that night. It'll be fun. So make sure you come out to that. If you're on Facebook, there's a Facebook invite. Go click that you're going to it. So
Invite
all
your
your
friends.
friends know you're going
Yep.
to it, and then they'll come too, and then we'll get really fucked up. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, I think the Sox Machine guys have been tweeting out the link because they have the link to their post on their site about this party. So if you can't find it on our Twitter line, check their Twitter line. You'll be able to find it.
All right.
All right.
Now here's the thing.
Getting in.
Yes, drink.
It's baseball rumor season.
Yes, it is.
One of the greatest times of the season, outside of like the playoffs and the stretch run at the end. The rumor season is when kind of every team is in on everything, right?
Treasy, I saw some Fangraphs writers bemoaning rumor season, and all I could think was, you have no soul. How do you not have fun with this? This is so much fun.
They're just awful.
Everyone's in.
Everyone's in.
It's like everyone's in first place.
I mean, there are 42 teams in on Bryce Harper right
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So we wanted to talk about a few 108 rumors and dispel them while we have your attention. So we're gonna just go around a couple times and throw these out and tell you what is and what is not true. So My Sock Summer, why don't you kick off with one of your rumors?
Okay. My first rumor that I wanted to spell is that I am not Mexican. I get confused.
Honorary Mexican.
They're like, when it's Hispanic Heritage Night and I roll in with a sombrero, I get very weird looks from everybody. I also wear a 100% Soxican shirt, which I didn't even know meant Mexican until somebody told me it meant Mexican. I thought
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
it was
shocking.
just somebody that just liked, Soxicans. But no, I am not Mexican. I did grow up with a lot of Mexicans, but I am not Mexican.
Beefloaf and I are Mexican.
In fact, yes.
100%.
That's not even a question. Beefloaf, give me a rumor that you'd like to dispel.
Okay, I figured I'd bring one out that I was actually asked before when I was on the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast with my guys, Father Zoe and Matanuco and Aldo. And they asked me, they said, you guys seem to get along with everyone who comes to visit you in the stands. You take pictures, you do all this stuff, you tweet back and forth with people. Do you really get along with everyone like you seem to on Twitter? Okay? I think we can all chime in, but I'll start. The short answer to me is yes. The longer answer is there's only a handful of people who are probably undesirables. We won't name any of them, but there's only a handful of people where it's like, that's enough. Mostly everyone is super cool when they come over. And we were excited to see mostly everybody. I mean,
Right.
95% of the people were like, oh, cool, so-and-so's here. They're going to come by. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to drink some beers together,
Yes.
So I think now that people recognize us as the 108, and the people that come by have been great. Like it's been fantastic. I've enjoyed pretty much every interaction. However, let me tell a little story about the first time that this is when the 108 was really born. So Biggins sits in front of us. So him and Slump Buster, and they've had those seats for a while. So it was the first season that me and Beefloaf were sitting. We just sat right behind them. We didn't know them.
Yeah.
We had no idea who
This
they
is
were.
before the blog.
This is 08?
This is 2008.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season, it was an Oakland A's game, like just a throwaway game and a throwaway season. And we started talking with Slump Buster and Biggins, and this is where the friendship kind of started. And then there was this other guy there who had just come and sat with us, and he was like chatting it up. And so at the end of the game, we're like, hey, let's go over to Shinnick's, have some beers, right? And so we go over there, and this is some real good times between us and the Indiana crew, right?
Yeah.
But this extra guy comes there, and he is insanely racist.
Oh, my goodness.
And he is saying things like, I mean, he dropped like 15 N-bombs.
Yes.
In like a matter of 10 minutes. And we were just like all kind of looking at each other. And then we just kind of dispersed away until this dude left. And then kind of like all recollected and we're like, what the fuck was that? So I guess like we are pretty accepting of everybody.
Right.
But yeah, no racist
Not
assholes.
racist people.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good...
So
It's good to get out there for people.
So different rumor. I think a lot of people think this. You know, like if you see the old Hans and Franz SNL where they're got the muscle suit on, I think a lot of people think that in the hot tub that we're wearing some kind of like muscle suit or bodysuit to make ourselves
like a plate.
look really good. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we look fantastic.
I mean,
But
They think we're wearing like the suit that the Giant Gonzalez used to wear.
yeah. But I gotta tell you guys. I mean, it's natural, 100%.
100%.
100% Chirizi. You got out of me right there.
Hardly work out to get those bodies. Too.
Oh man, I mean, I work hard in my body.
There's no
you know?
question.
It's a lot of carbs.
It is a lot of hard work to climb those 3 stairs to get up into the hot tub. I've seen it.
Well, you know, I like to do about 100 laps in the hot tub.
That's right.
Get the heart rate up.
Do some curls. All right. My other one, I made these all about me. Apparently, I didn't think of you guys.
These are 108 rumors, then.
So I don't look smaller in person. I look exactly the same size as in every picture that you see me, looking ginormous and fat. I am exactly that size.
So the camera doesn't add.
Does not
10
add
pounds.
anything really.
Just
nope.
the air around you.
I
adds 10
am that
pounds.
actually that big.
I still have wanted to put measurables on our blog site. And then
me next to a
funny
banana?
jokes around that. No. Like your actual...
Wait, what are we measuring?
Put a big on my head. I don't know.
No, height, weight. Not length, all right?
What about
easy on that.
girth?
Height and width, no length.
We'll use water displacement. I don't
Water
trust you. I don't
displacement.
trust your measurements, all right?
Get your teacup ready.
Another rumor, another question is, do the 108ers get inside scoops? The answer is occasionally we do. Occasionally we're told something by someone either in the Sox organization or connected to the Sox organization about something that's going on. But never, ever, ever, ever are we going to be breaking any fucking news or sharing any of this shit with you, all right? That's not what we do. So, like, if we see you in the stands and we talk about something, again, our conversation, unless it's a funny one you want us to share with everyone, we will not be sharing with everybody else. We treat everyone just like they're a personal friend, and we don't spit out stuff out to everybody.
Right.
Also, I think if someone in the White Sox organization is giving us information,
They want it out there.
it's not good information. Who would go like, you know, we need to tell the drunkest people around. That's who we want to use as our speakers. You know, our mouthpiece, is the drunkest dudes around. No, it's Bob Nightingale, right? So like, it's not.
Scott
Like,
Merkin.
But Merck is like a legit writer. Bob Nightingale is like, I mean, like, I feel
He's being fed whatever.
Kenny's hand is on his hand while he's writing whatever he's doing. So
Just do it.
I got one. This is Chirizi, obviously. I am not older than Beef Loaf.
You're not the oldest person in the blog.
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
You're the
yes.
youngest.
I'm the
Youngest with
youngest.
a bullet.
I know I look old as fuck, but I'm the youngest guy.
You are
Out of our blog.
Out of our blog, yeah.
Out of White Sox Twitter, we're all on the...
We're all the oldest,
highest.
basically, right? I mean,
Yeah. Who is older than us?
There's a few. I'm not going to call out guys.
I mean, like, Sox Nerd is older than us.
Yeah,
but I
he's
mean,
older.
like...
Jerry Reinsdorf is older
I was
than
going to
us.
say, like... the only person who's
Barely.
probably even close to our age is... I bet Jim Margulis is probably in his mid-30s.
I hope
still
he's
younger than
I
us.
hope he's like 25 and he motherfucks you for that.
There's no way he's listening, but I bet he's in his mid-30s.
We have 10 years on all these guys.
Yeah, we do, easily.
I
Almost
might,
20 years on the Sox and 35th guys.
as everybody knows, I enjoy getting giveaways at the White Sox games. I do not steal giveaways from kids. Okay? I am not out actively stealing stuff from your children. Okay? It's your lazy ass fault if you didn't get your kids there early enough to get it. That's what it is.
This is not even a rumor.
I'm just saying.
This is just you being mad about something.
I've heard these things before. Okay? Might have been from Tony Marchese. I don't know. Maybe Tony Marchese's wife. I don't know. I'm just saying.
At least get his name right.
Marchese?
It's Marchese, isn't it?
Marchese?
Yeah.
I mean, that's his Twitter handle spells it out for you.
We all know who we're talking about.
And that's how he pronounces it when he says his name to start the podcast.
What does he say?
Okay.
Marchese?
No,
he does not say whatever you're saying.
Yeah, he says Parcheesi when he announces himself.
He says, let me intentionally pronounce my name wrong just to mess up my Sox summer so he'll get it wrong when he talks about me later, 6 episodes later.
Get a code name.
My name.
Yeah, something easy like my sock summer rolls off the tongue.
It does.
My final question rumor is, do the 108ers fight amongst each other? And the question is no. The answer is no, not really. There's not really much in the way of fighting. We break each other's balls mercilessly, though, especially at games.
Yeah.
Especially anytime we're hanging out drinking.
That's not limited to the 108ers. Like, I think like our friend group extended beyond the 108. That's just how we've always been. So
yeah, that's right.
That's not something new. That's just how we do.
Yeah. My last one could be all of us. I don't think any of us has seen one another naked. We've never seen each other naked.
So me and Beefloaf were brothers. So yes, obviously
you guys have seen each other naked. I've never seen you guys naked.
Thank God.
I don't think I've seen Teresi naked in the last decade, maybe.
That's good.
Why is this?
I'm just saying. Maybe people think
My Sox summer.
Who started this rumor?
My Sox summer. Is this an invitation? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I feel like
hashtag.
I feel
you guys
like
see each other naked.
I feel like you're trying to start a rumor here.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're trying to get into something.
I'm trying to dispel rumors that I think are out there that people are thinking.
You know what though? I think you actually know somehow.
You know
what my article is going to be that I'm going to read in the post-game show on YouTube.
I don't know.
So for those of you who listen to the podcast, just so you know, and just in case you're not aware of this, most nights when we do the podcast, we're pretty drunk by the end. And so
that's correct.
We always have the bad idea of going on YouTube Live and doing a post-game show. So
it's usually like 10 minutes of nonsense.
Yeah, and so we usually ask the questions that we had left over from what was in our outline for the show. But tonight we have a very specific thing that we all asked each other to research and come with something. We're going to read stories about famous athletes that are like ridiculous stories that you find on the internet about these guys. And so
no, you can't.
If you want to see that, you know, just jump on YouTube tomorrow. It'll be up.
Yep.
And then subscribe to our YouTube channel, because when we do this, it'll give you a notification saying, like, you know, add the notifications, and then it'll give you a notification that we're going on live. Right. So this is usually like a Tuesday or Wednesday night at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. We're pretty loaded.
Drunk guys.
And we're just giving some random stuff off the top of our head. Like, if you think the shit that I say towards the end of these podcasts when I'm getting a little lit is insane, tune into one of these. They're fantastic. All right. On to the next thing. The other day I was watching Beverly Hills Cop 3. It was on TV.
Ooh, that's
just kind of in the background. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But my buddy Tony loves this movie. Like, I texted him and was like, "Hey, dude, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is on IFC." He's like, "That's awesome. I already watched it this week." Right?
Wow.
So he loves it, right? And I was thinking, what are the worst, like, sequel or prequel that's like a terrible one, but you love? My Sox Summer, go ahead. Give me some.
I was confused by the question when you first approached it, and then I figured it out because I read it. The worst sequel that I love is any Friday the 13th like sequels. I love every single one of those motherfuckers, and they actually sometimes get a little better as it goes along. I actually don't think Friday the 13th is the best.
Jason X is tops.
So
go to space.
I know
every horror movie needs to go to space.
I know I've talked about this before, but I came home one time from bouncing at a bar or drinking all day at a bar, one of the two, and I stopped at Walmart and bought every single Friday the 13th movie they had on DVD for like $2 a piece, which seemed like a brilliant investment.
So $250.
Yeah, so I have everything on DVD that I have not watched in 10 years. But now we have
B-Flow just walked away.
Yeah, B-Flow walked away. I have a drink. But yeah, no, I love all the Friday the 13th sequels. They're great. Everyone gets better. It's like fine wine.
B-Flow?
Apologies, I was a little congested, so I had to walk away to cough. I thought about this, and initially, the movie that first came to mind was Godfather 3.
Oh.
But I kicked it out only because I liked the movie, and I think it's a standalone. It would be a really good movie.
Oh.
But as a third, it's so weak compared to the other ones, and part of the main plot involves incest. So I was just like, I can't. I can't have my hands dirtied with that. So what I went back to was Ocean's 12. Most people can't stand Ocean's 12 because it's got a ridiculous plot, and it just doesn't seem like it's even plausible. But I like the characters a lot. I think the banter between the characters is probably the best out of the 3 Oceans movies. And it sort of gets left because it's so fucking far-fetched that Terry Benedict wouldn't fucking kill them instantly knowing what happened. And then how they have to steal. Like the way that they end up resolving it is they like steal the egg from some guy who has a backpack that they know about. Yes. It's like so weird.
So I didn't like it very much when I saw it initially. And then I was talking to Johnny Love about it. And he gave me the lowdown on that movie. Like, apparently, they wanted to do an Ocean's 12 really bad. So rather than write a script for Ocean's 12, like the sequel, they took an existing script for a heist movie and jammed in the Ocean's 12.
Really? Okay.
Just throw the Ocean's guys in there. And that's why it seems so disjointed from, like, the regular Ocean's stuff.
That totally makes sense.
Interesting.
But I think the banter and everything is really good between the characters. I enjoy it. When it's on, I watch it.
Right.
So I'll give you the background on two. I have 2. And then so I'll give you the background on both of them. They're both kind of weird. So one is Halloween 3. I really like Halloween 3. It is the only Halloween movie without Michael Myers. Right? And so the way that the guys that came up with Halloween, their initial idea was every year we're going to do this Halloween movie, and it's going to be a different story every year. So
right.
Different storytellers telling a scary Halloween story, right? And so Halloween 1 was so successful that they said, okay, for next year's, let's do the next night of that.
Right.
Because we're going to make all this fucking money. And they said, cool. So then they did the second one. People loved it, right? So now you got 2 with Michael Myers, and then they said, okay, well, now we're going to get back to the original idea, but didn't tell anybody, right? And there's no way, it's like is it late 70s, early 80s? Like, there's no way to really, like, get the word out that this is what they're doing.
Right.
So everyone went to the theater going, like, well, this is the next Michael Myers movie, and it wasn't, and people were pissed. So, like, but if you watch it as a standalone movie, it's a good, like, Halloween horror movie. Like, it's like a sci-fi horror movie. It's good. I like it. It's something that I enjoy. And the other one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which, like,
all horror movies.
Toby Hooper
he stayed in the horror.
He didn't want to really do a sequel to this, but, like, someone gave him a shitload of money to do a sequel to it,
yeah.
And he decided, well, the way I want to treat this is I want to do, like, a horror comedy. And so this movie is so fucking ridiculous. Dennis Hopper is, like, one of the main characters in this movie, and he looks like he's been doing coke for, like, 3 or 4 months straight before he came on the set for this. And
sounds like good times.
Yeah. It is incredible. And it's like funny. Bill Moseley's in it.
Is he?
Yeah. And it's just a really ridiculous movie, but it's so different, and it was so far apart from the original, like, in years, that, like, people were like, what the fuck is this bullshit? I love it. So those are my 2 movies. I think people probably hate both of them, but I'll stand by either one of them. I'll die on that hill.
I love that you brought up Bill Moseley. That's a deep cut in a very probably drunk conversation that we've had.
Yeah, because I love Bill Moseley.
Yeah, I mean, that
think
is just so...
I think he's not only a fantastic actor, but also a ridiculous musician, doing his albums with Les Claypool.
Little side info on that is my roommate from California actually dated Bill Moseley's brother. So,
Really?
Yeah, he was kind of a prick.
I hear Bill's a swell guy, though.
It seems like he was. He doesn't hang out with his brother, from what I could tell. But I had another one too, and I for some reason I found myself when I first moved to Arizona at a house party at ASU, and I started smoking some pot, and we watched X-Men, and since then, anything X-Men related, I kind of enjoy. And I don't know why. I've never read the comic book. I don't know the story. The story I know just directly from the movies. So I also like all the X-Men movies for some reason.
Yeah, and some people really hate some of those sequels.
Right?
Like there's some people that are very... And like ones that like break the timeline. That's the biggest complaint I hear about with the X-Men. I don't know the timeline, so like I just enjoy them randomly when they're on.
I don't know. It's probably like how people enjoy Field of Dreams that don't know who Shoeless Joe Jackson is and don't know if he writes left or right. You know, like that angers you, but then somebody's probably really angered because like you know, Wolverine was coated with titanium and it's supposed to be something else, some other metal.
Way to knock that one out of the park.
That's true, Mike Sock Summer. Everyone has their own deep focus on something, and so different details bother them more.
I don't know any of the rumors, so I can't really even... Yeah.
All right, let's pay some bills.
All right. Hi, I'm My Sock Summer. When my wife and I bought a house in lovely Bridgeport, we made only one call. That call was to Dan at Dutch Movers. Dan and his crew took good care of our stuff and even set up our bed. Have you ever seen a guy lug a dresser down 2 flights of stairs on his back? I have, and it was magical. If you are in need of a reasonably priced mover in the Chicagoland area, give Dan at Dutch Movers a call at 708-331-2990. And as we say, if it ain't Dutch, it ain't much.
Very nice. Woo. All right,
Cheers.
let's talk some White Sox.
Oh, shit.
You guys ready?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, let's go first in.
Hold on. Oh, I'm ready.
Oh,
All
baby.
right.
That just sprayed all over the place.
See, that's why you need the condom on your
God.
mic.
These tops are awesome, but they just do not.
We're going to get cut on those tops.
No.
100%.
We're done. This is the last one.
So,
Go ahead.
the Sox made a move. They traded for Ivan Nova. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
So the full trade is they traded the Pittsburgh Pirates Yordi Rosario, who's a 19-year-old Dominican right-handed pitcher, and $500,000 of international bonus pool money. So money that they are limited on using. They can't use more than $300,000 in one shot.
And Nova is owed $9.5 million.
$9.2 million.
$9.2 million.
$9.2 million is what he owed for this year, and then his contract is done after 2019.
Okay, so give me your take on that.
Okay, so my thought first, before I get my thoughts, just want to let you guys know in case you were unsure. I have a Nova 108 thick.
Oh yeah,
6'5",
Yes,
250 pounds, baby. He's a lunker. He could fit in well with us. He'd have to spread out a seat. He'd have to give the buffer room. I don't think I'd want to sit that tight with him. He'd have to have one seat in between, but he could come and sit with us.
I like the buffer.
No, I'm encouraged by this move. Although I also don't think it signals anything other than Rick Hahn's making sort of a smart move. He's buying someone's contract that another team wants to get rid of, where the player value is higher than the contract value. He gave away basically nothing. I mean, in theory, you could use that pool money. I don't know what a Yordi Rosario is exactly, but I know he was in the DSL for 3 years. So usually if you stay in that league that long, that's usually not good.
DSL?
Yeah, the Dominican Summer League. So if you get signed as a 16 or 17-year-old, you should only be in that league a year or two, and then you should be moving stateside and doing stuff. He's been there 3 full years. He did actually come stateside to Arizona to that Summer League this year. But still sort of a long time to be down there.
Yeah.
I read a little bit up on him. They said he's whippy, whatever that means. I'm not sure. But anyway, it looks like Rick Hahn is starting to go down the path of, hey, we're a mid-market team, and when these smaller market teams want to sell off a contract that the player value is higher, but they don't want to try to afford it anymore, I'll come and catch them. And I don't think that's a bad business to be in. I mean, he's like the debt relief business, basically,
right.
And I think I'm starting to see a little glimmer of what Rick Hahn might be interested in doing, or the way he thinks about doing business. This deal is a small deal. The Alex Colomé deal is a small deal. But you need to do little small deals like this and pick up a win or two here or there just by sheer talent. Now, that doesn't plug in the whole rest of the jaunt between 62 wins and playoffs. No. But as you become a playoff team or a good team or a team in contention, these moves are very important. These are little moves where you end up with not some piece of crap at some spot.
Right.
And so I'm encouraged more and more by Hahn with these types of things, and then more recently with an article that I read that Saris wrote, where he was talking about how teams now are capped in the international markets for spending. They're capped in the major league market. They can't, they have the luxury tax and stuff. The only area they're not capped anymore, or where they have a sort of free will to spend what they want, is in player development. And in the article, he mentioned, and this was something that was already sort of known out there, but it was cool that he mentioned it. The White Sox went out and signed Matt Lyle to be their. Let's see what his exact title is. I got his exact title here. His exact title is hitting analysis instructor, or hitting analytics instructor. What the fuck does that mean? What that means is this guy built his hitting business on YouTube. And he was basically a softball player, and he was a softball coach, and he just started doing all these YouTube videos. And then recently, within a year from getting hired with the White Sox, he was hired by the University of Missouri, which apparently has a reputation for hiring sort of outside-the-box people. And they've been getting pillaged. They've been getting a lot of their assistant coaches stolen by major league teams because the major league teams are going and seeing the work that's done by these people. So apparently Matt Lyle's website's still up. You can go check out his stuff. I don't know shit about hitting, so it probably wouldn't help me understand anything. But I like that they're going outside the box and not just doing all the same traditional things, both with buying paper and with Matt Lyle.
Yeah, to me, the move was kind of it's kind of middle of the road, but I like it, right? Like, so here's what you're looking at. You just recently said, look, we're not going to give Avi Garcia $8 million. Right, so you have $8 million off the books, basically.
Right.
You can't spend your international money because of the Luis Robert deal. You're in international draft jail, basically. So you can't spend that money anyways. And then you're giving away a 19-year-old in below single A, basically. So you're giving nothing, really, to have a guy come in for a year, make about $9 million to be a starting pitcher. Now, if we don't do anything in free agency, this guy's going to slot in as your number 2 or 3 starter, right? Because your pitching staff is doesn't exist.
Depleted.
Really. It's Lopez and Rodon, right? And so
that's right.
I mean, Giolito's there, but
don't be doggone Gio like that. Come on, man.
But if you do get a Bryce Harper or a Manny Machado, and you're trying to build this team that could play in the playoffs, you slot in some better pitchers, but he's still going to be in that rotation. He'll be your number 5 because there's just that few pitchers in there, and there's that few options in free agency to really fill that staff with anyone reasonable. The other thing is it's a 1-year deal, really, right? So he's only here this year. So you're going to assume Kopech's in your rotation next year. That's the spot, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
The other 2 spots, you could do a longer contract, or you could do something else, right? Yeah. So I think it's a good move because it actually doesn't signal anything. You could still be at that fork of the road and say, if things go this way, we'll do this. If things go that way, we'll react and do something else. So that's why I like it. I don't think Ivan Nova is some special pitcher, right?
Right.
I probably did when I drafted him on my fantasy team, 5 or 6 years ago. This is going to be his breakout season, and just with everything I ever predict, I was incredibly wrong. So So I won't.
He's like a league average pitcher, basically.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy. He's an arm that'll take 160 innings that we don't have to waste on someone else.
And that's I think that's key. We don't have a Shields this year, so you need somebody come that's gonna take and eat innings. I think it does signal something though. It signals that the Sox know that we don't have shit in the cupboard to bring up for pitching, and we can't just say, oh, we got prospects for that, which seems to be the refrain that I'm hearing over and over, from people that don't want to sign a Bryce Harper or a Manny Machado is like, oh, we got prospects.
Yeah.
Fuck the next 2-3 years. Let's just lose another couple hundred games. No big deal. It's. I think that they're saying, hey, we know that we got shit, so let's bring in somebody that's at least going to come in. So I love this move. I don't love it because he's a great person. I love it because now we have 4 fucking pitchers.
Right.
So when we're one closer,
pitchers, yeah.
one guy closer to having a full fucking pitching staff, which was hell of a lot quicker than it was last year because we were still at Sox Fest and we had 3 starting pitchers last year.
Yeah. And I think to your point, we're going to talk about Rule 5 a little bit later, but they left Spencer Adams out there. Right, he's out there. So that was one of the guys that was supposed to be coming up through the system to be one of the starting pitchers.
That's right.
Tyler Danish is gone. Right. So this is just another signal of that we're not confident in these guys pitching down there.
Right.
So I totally agree.
Which is fine. Yeah, at least they're making the decision, right?
It's fine if you look at it objectively and say we don't have it. Let's go get it.
Yes, and it's not expensive. We have low payroll anyway.
Right.
Guys are making $9 million. No big deal.
$9 million for a starting pitcher.
But we need to talk about the important stuff, though. Okay. His nickname, Supernova. Okay. Walk up, or his song when he's coming out to pitch, Champagne Supernova.
Has to be
by fucking Oasis. So we're gonna hear a shitload of Oasis next year at the ballpark. Okay.
Did they play the whole song?
Yeah, they have to.
42 minutes.
That's a slow walk. That's a slow walk to the dugout from the bullpen.
That song is 4 lyrics, and it's 224 minutes. It's basically our podcast.
It is, yeah.
I am confident that we can put together a GoFundMe and probably get Liam Gallagher out to sing or to play the Champagne Supernova while he's coming up for the entire year.
By a GoFundMe, you mean a bucket of Guinness?
Yes.
Liam is he the guitar player or is he the singer?
He's the singer.
Yeah,
Noel was the guitar
player. Noel wouldn't do it for a GoFundMe.
No.
Liam would do it for a GoFundMe though. He was on Stern. He was a fun guy.
Noel's the one that has the same eyebrow as that kid in the NBA, right?
Yeah, Anthony Davis. He and Anthony Davis both have the unibrow.
The exact same eyebrow.
Anthony Davis copied the unibrow from him. He had it before.
So as I said earlier, there's a lot of shit that we won't know that's going on between the hours that we're doing this. But some shit that did happen earlier today around Bryce Harper and Scott Boras. Beefloaf wants to give the lowdown, and then we're going to comment on it. Or we might not even comment on it. We might just let Beefloaf go off on some crazy-ass fucking rant.
I'm not sure if I have a crazy rant, but I was going to read some of the tweets that I saw because I didn't actually see any video of Scott Boras' little scrum with the media. I was going to read some tweets, and I still am going to read some tweets from White Sox Twitter. People put this out there. But right before we came over here, I saw the video where Jim Bowden from The Athletic said that he claims the White Sox are the front runner for Bryce Harper. And so White Sox Twitter went a little berserk. Most people were sort of like, that just makes me believe they're not the front runner. Right. Someone's saying it. So don't know what to believe regarding that.
That's the Saluder talk, by the way.
So some tweets from the Scott Boras scrum. So Chuck Garfien first. Boras, I think Bryce is really open to the geography. What he's really looking for is the ownership to make sure that he has every opportunity to achieve his goals to win a world championship. This tweet from Slavko Bekovic. Boras on Jerry Reinsdorf. He's a very knowledgeable baseball person. He's been a historic figure in the game. Certainly somebody that I enjoy talking to all the time. Garfien again. Scott Boras said his staff has given Bryce Harper detailed information about every team's minor league system, and that Harper has been quite engaged in that process.
Yeah.
Garfien again asked if Bryce Harper would be interested in signing with a team coming off a 68 or 72 win season. Boras said, I think when you're signing a long-term contract, you're looking at a franchise in the long term, not just the short term. James Fegan. Scott Boras said, a club's long-term outlook is very important when considering a fit and confirmed that Harper has been studying up on the farm system and organizational strength of the teams pursuing him. And Tony Andracki, Boris said he and Bryce Harper have met with every team they need to by now, and they're currently in the process of negotiating terms with the teteams that are in. But he won't address which teams are in the mix.
Of course not.
What do you guys think about some of those comments there?
Well, I just think it's ridiculous that, we're starting to see it on Twitter that people are already saying, oh, I'm not going to believe this. I don't believe this. Well, what if it's legit? It could be legit, that Harper is interested in the geography. Yeah, he likes Chicago. Maybe he wants to live out his lifelong dream of spit roasting a grill with Chris Bryant. I don't know. While he's looking at the beautiful fucking Chicago skyline. I'm not sure. But the deal is, I don't know. I just think everything's speculation, obviously, right? I think their Sox are definitely in on it. They have the money to make it happen. So why can't we be in on this? I think us thinking that we're not in on it, and fans think that we're not in on it, is fucking straight loser talk. Like, you're already giving up because you don't want to be butthurt when it doesn't happen. And I fully understand that thinking, right? You don't want to be like, oh, fuck, we didn't even get this guy. But you know what? We might get the next guy. Oh, we might get this guy. No, let's fucking go all in and fucking make it happen. You guys sent around a tweet the other day where we were talking about Reinsdorf was saying that, we're going to make a pretty significant offer, but he wasn't
confident that
we're not sure that we're going to be the highest offer. Fucking, you have all the money, dude. If you want to make a higher offer, make a fucking higher offer. Do you want the guy or do you not want the guy? That's where it comes down to. Because it's not a money thing. It's not like, we're not the Cubs. We don't have a shitload of payroll. You have no payroll. You can fucking bankroll a guy. You want to do it? Do it. Fucking A right. I don't know. Beer's starting to kick in. Just saying.
The beer is starting to kick in, which is why I'm going to give a crazy idea right here. What if, I would kind of love this, if Rick and Kenny are just kind of playing the market here and going, let's go talk to all these agents now and go, we're working on getting Bryce Harper in, but we need this supporting cast. So Michael Brantley, Yasmani Grandal, let's get you in here so you could be on a team with Bryce Harper and then just not even fucking try to sign Bryce Harper.
It doesn't sound
like when they give the final offer, they're like, we're going to give you 10 years, $150 million, Bryce. What do you think about that?
It doesn't sound that far-fetched if you saw some of the moves start happening. Like, we're getting a little ways into it now. Like, so that's a reasonable idea. My big takeaway from all of this, and let me preface this by saying I do believe the White Sox are in it. If I had to throw a probability, a percentage, I would say I think there's rumored to be like roughly 6 teams involved. I would say the White Sox are probably 25% to get Bryce Harper.
I think that's,
which is pretty damn good. That's probably number 2, maybe.
Yeah.
If you were trying to figure out everyone's percentage, it's really good. But the responses to these tweets were hilarious to me because every single one of the people responding to these just viewed the whole thing through a White Sox fan lens and didn't step back and say, who the fuck is delivering this message? Yeah. What are their incentives here? I mean, if you looked at this, if you read everything on here, it all reads like Scott Boras is trying to get as much fucking leverage as possible. He wants every door open. That's why the geography thing makes sense. He wants all this stuff. None of these things, to me, directly point at, they love the White Sox.
Yeah.
They all directly point at, we're open to any of these teams that are really fucking interested, and we'd like to hear
what their case is. Like the George Offman tweet from the other day that everyone kind of went nuts about, and then he actually deleted, and then people went more nuts because he deleted it, and it basically said, like, Bryce is warming to the idea of the White Sox if they'll give him a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Which is like when God told Reggie White to play for the Packers. God just happened to think the team that was going to give you a fucking huge barrel of cash was the team you should play for.
Glory to God.
That's right. Thing. Absolutely. The one tweet that really caught my eye, and if I were completely not a fan of any of these teams, it would worry the shit out of me as a Sox fan, is the James Fegan tweet where he says, Scott Boras said a club's long-term outlook is very important when considering a fit and confirmed that Harper has been studying up on the farm system and organizational strength of the teams pursuing him. If I have roughly the teams right. I would say the Sox, Phillies, Dodgers, Astros are probably the main four. Astros haven't been that mentioned, but they have the hole and they have the money. So let's assume they're in because they need a right fielder and they have a great team right now. And why wouldn't they? Out of those 4 teams, let's throw the Cubs in there even. Out of those 5 teams, the White Sox are the weakest fucking organization by a mile out of those groups. Yeah. They're not even close. And then people will say, well, the farm system. I went and looked at Keith Law's farm rankings from 2018 at the start of the year. Let me read you off what they are. White Sox 4th, Phillies 5th, Dodgers 9th, Astros 13th. There's not a big gap between them. They have strong farm systems, and their major league teams are winning 100 games, or the Phillies case, maybe only 80 games, but still far fucking ahead of the White Sox. If I read that tweet and that tweet only, I would be terrified as a White Sox fan thinking, all these other organizations are currently stronger than ours.
Let's point out that the Phillies. So here's the interesting thing about the Phillies to me, and why I think they're on the uptick.
Well, why are they on the uptick?
Because I want to know this. They were like a 500 ball club last year. Everyone, with the exception of Jake Arrieta on that team, is young. They just moved Carlos Santana in that trade to get Jean Segura back. But here's the thing: the reason they were willing to move Carlos Santana is because they've been playing Rhys Hoskins in the outfield. And they could just move him to first base. He's more a first baseman than he is like a left fielder.
Right.
And then, a spot opens in the outfield, and they just fill it with Andrew McCutchen immediately. And now they got one outfield spot that's kind of up for grabs. Right? So imagine an outfield of Odubel Herrera, Andrew McCutchen, and Bryce Harper. That's an outfield you don't really get hurt in if you're Bryce. Bryce Harper could play left field in that fucking outfield.
Yeah. For sure.
And just hit a ton of bombs in that tiny ballpark.
And Trees, you bring up a great point about Philadelphia. I saw some people throwing some shade at Philadelphia, like, oh, why would he choose Philadelphia over the White Sox? And like, well, first off, Philadelphia was a 500 team last year. Okay, they did fade in the second half.
I didn't know that.
That's true.
Drink that up.
Number 2, Philadelphia, because of that alignment that you were talking about, Rhys Hoskins and Santana, they had this misaligned team. They had a generationally bad defense that will improve tremendously by getting Carlos Santana the fuck out of there and not having Rhys Hoskins in left field. So, I don't know. They popped 4 or 5 wins just from not having bad guys at positions.
Yeah.
And then you add a guy. Yeah, you got a 90-win team right there. I mean, they got a lot of pitching on the come. That's a good young team. And they have guys that didn't do shit, like Scott Kingery, who's a potential young star, who didn't do shit last year, who might end up doing stuff.
And
like,
that's a team that could add both Harper and Machado, right? Their payroll's that low.
Right.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
And they're willing to go high. They're not like the White Sox. See, if I were Bryce Harper, my first question would be, what are the guarantees that after you spend the money on me, you will keep spending money to ensure that we can win? Because they don't build payrolls like that.
They went out last year and said, fuck everyone, because you're not bidding on this guy. We're going to get Jake Arrieta.
That's true. They did. And they weren't quite ready to compete yet.
And you're also assuming that he wants to win. I mean, I'm sure he wants to win, but he wants to get paid.
But they'll do both.
Yeah. But definitely.
Okay, so let's say you leave $10 million on the table and you go to the Astros. Or you leave $10 million on the table and go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
What's $10 million when it's $300?
That's why I'm wondering. You know,
I get you. I'm right there with you. I'm just saying that, like, I think some of these, you see these stories of these players that sell their World Series rings after they've won them because it doesn't mean shit to them. Like they were out there to do a job, and they did a job, and they did it well, obviously. But
I don't see Machado or Harper as mercenaries. Like I just don't. I don't see.
No, these are guys on Hall of Fame paths. They're trying to build a legacy.
You think so?
For sure. Yeah.
Do you think that
when you're a free agent at 26 and commanding $300 million, you are on the path to the Hall of Fame. That's.
I get that. No, I'll agree with that.
You could shit yourself like Jason Hayward, but I don't think either one of these guys.
I just wonder, like, is Machado? Is he? What like his playoff and his comments in the playoffs? Not very Hall of Fame-ish.
People took that way out of context. And he was just, to me, what he was saying when he said that shit was, if I have a coach like Ricky Renteria,
I'm not running out the first.
I'm not running out a ball to first base to look like I'm like, I'm not pulling a David Eckstein and going like, I hustle even on a walk. I run to first base. That's a bullshit thing to do. Like, why expend that energy? You have to play. You're expected to play 160 games out of 162 and hit 40 home runs. Like, that's what people expect.
Is it bad as a suitor that question came up on the manager during the winter meetings?
What's that?
But if he got a superstar, what would he do? Would he bench him like he benches some of these other guys?
They said
that question was asked. That's got to be bad, right? I mean, that's a black mark on the whole recruitment process. It has to be, right?
During his interview, like,
they asked Ricky.
They asked Ricky that.
Well, not Harper's group. The media scrum asked Ricky that. So even the fact that would be asked, not at the same thing with Boris. Different. Okay. There's a million different things going on at winter meetings. Yeah, he happened to be getting talked to on camera.
Okay, quick shout out about that. Yeah, because just a shout out to our guy Scott Garcia out there in the 108 shirt behind Ricky on MLB Network. That was fucking awesome. Oh, of course, 108ing.
Yes.
Of course, he was 108ing. Love it. And Ken W.O. was out there too.
Yes,
with the Baines jersey. That was some solid
cool
shit. So loving that. And then internationally, we got Wally Money and Aloha Mr. Hand down at the Sox on the Beach.
Yep.
And they just happened to run into our other boy, El Chapo. So now Wally and El Chapo running wild in Mexico. Yep. I don't even want to know what's going on.
Did El Chapo go on that trip?
He's on that trip.
Who does he know there? Because he shows up at Sox Fest too.
Hey, he loves the Sox.
So he's just dialed in. He just wants to go and do that.
Anyone to go to Sox Fest?
I'm just wondering. I just didn't know.
All right.
Asking the question.
I think that's about it on Harper for now. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about him quite a bit.
After they sign him, we'll talk about him more.
Yeah. When
he was at the park Thursday, right? Is that
when me and Beefloaf do the
knows.
emergency Friday Periscope video about Harper signing, you guys will get some more. But back to a guy that I mentioned in that scenario there is Yasmani Grandal. Got some rumors about him coming to the Sox this year. I honestly, before the season, thought that he was going to be a guy who was going to take the qualifying offer. I thought he might just go for like the $17 million. What this signals to me that he didn't is that he's looking for more years. So let's get some thoughts on what we feel about Yasmani Grandal and how he would fit with the White Sox organization. Beeflo, if you want to kick that off.
Sure. I think he'd be a perfect fit, and I actually think as you have Wellington Castillo rolling off next year, I mean, he does have an option you could theoretically pick up, but you have Sebi Zavala coming up hot. That's a nice fit to have. Grandal is like sort of an everyday guy hitting from the left side, and you bring up Zavala as the right-hand hitting
Grandal's counterpart. Switch hitter. So
he's a switch hitter, but you would use them. Yeah. You could more use them than the strong sides. Grandal's a good defender and a good hitter. I mean, his value will be huge on this team because they haven't had a good catcher in a long time. I just don't think they're going to be willing to outbid the other teams for this. Like, we're talking about the big bidding with the Bryce Harper thing, but Rick Hahn hasn't shown an aptitude for wanting to spend a lot on catchers. He's dumpster dives usually for these guys. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to wait till towards the end. They're going to find a low-end defensive catcher to help them. Maybe Martin Maldonado or somebody like that. I don't think they'll actually end up with Grandal, but he would be a terrific fit because he can slide over to DH. He's a good hitter. He probably could play some first. Like, you'd have sort of the versatile corner type guy that if the catchers came fast, you'd still be able to use him even in his years beyond, the next two.
He has played first, and that's what makes him interesting to me, because Jose Abreu is at the end of his contract, right? Zach Collins is coming up probably
still in Double-A.
Soonish, right? He's going to play Triple-A this year, and then as Abreu's rolling off, you would assume Zach Collins is coming up in some capacity.
2020.
I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure because Hahn did specifically say that
they're not ready.
They're not ready. So it looks like Zavala in AAA, Collins in AA until further
I don't
notice.
think that's what's going to be the case.
Do they do to share again?
I think they're both going to be in AAA, and I think they're going to play Collins at first base a bit.
Okay,
that's probably not a bad move.
And I think the idea that I'm seeing, like what I'm envisioning here, is if you have Grandal and Collins comes up hot and he's he's your guy that you want to be everyday catcher, and Zavala's going to be backing him up, well then Grandal could definitely play first base. We're not pushing anybody out. Or there's other scenarios, right? Who's going to be the best free agent next year, right? Because Arenado's going to sign with the Rockies. So, but
You never know.
But yeah, let's say it's not Arenado. Let's say we're not looking for Arenado because we already got Machado, right? We're good. Paul Goldschmidt's going to be out there, America's first baseman.
He is.
You go after Paul Goldschmidt, and now Grandal solidifies his spot at catcher, right? You have that flexibility of, is there a good catcher out there, or is a good catcher coming up? We can move Grandal over to first, and then we can move that catcher into that spot. Or we move this good first baseman in, and Grandal is solidified at catcher for the next few years. So I really like it. I think there's an unusual amount of flexibility in a Grandal signing because he's both switch hitter and he has position flexibility and he gets on base a good amount for a catcher. Not to mention his defense.
I don't have a lot to add to this topic, so just have a drink.
Do you know who Yasmani Grandal is?
I do not know who he is.
Oh, yes. Drink it up. Drink it up.
You might as well have another drink. But I don't think Goldschmidt's going anywhere. I think he's going to be in St. Louis.
I think that's probably right, too.
Until he's done and over, and then the Angels will come in as the heel that they are and steal him away, and all the Cardinals fans will go batshit crazy.
So another rumor that's come up recently is Jose Abreu being traded, right? And there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of probably truth to the rumors because I think it's just teams checking in because it's possible that they're going to look for that. But so terrible poor people.
For a man that drinks beer on the regular, your pouring skills of beer are fucking so subpar.
They're horrendous.
They're so subpar. Like, your glass of beer has so much head in it, it's blowing me right now.
I'm sorry, I can't be good at everything, all right? I'm bad at some stuff.
So to get back to what I was saying, somehow, the idea of a Jose Abreu trade is out there, right? And now,
because you started it.
Now, if we sign Harper, we sign Machado, you got to assume Abreu's sticking around. That's not even a question.
Because he's got a mentor.
But let's say we miss on.
That's right.
Let's say
He's got to teach him how to eat Cuban food.
Both.
He's got to show him where the Cuban restaurants.
Good hot spots. Bryce Harper's big into Cuban food.
Yes,
that's what I've
Cuban
heard.
Food. Everyone knows
that was one of the swinging points. I read it on Bob Nightingale's Twitter.
Let's say we miss on Harper and Machado. My favorite guy, Machado. We miss on those guys. What are your thoughts on the season, right? Because I think I have this feeling that Han's going to go, I'm not going to go after other guys. So what do we do then, right? What do we do if Han's not going to go after some other guys because he missed on those? What's next?
Well, I tell you what you don't do is you don't trade the guy that is probably going to help you win games. Both those guys. You can't all of a sudden. We talked about this after the Sunday soak, and my mind is still blown every time I hear this. Like, if we miss out on two good free agents, and our team is not even marginally better than what we think it's going to be, why would we trade two good, decent prospects or people in our team? I don't understand why we would do that.
Why wouldn't we trade Abreu?
Yeah,
I mean, he's in his last year of his contract.
I get you, but
right. So what does he help?
So all right. So you want to maximize his value right now when we still have something to try to get something for him.
Right, because what else are you going to get for him?
Yeah, I got you. All right, now that makes more sense. Why didn't you tell me that on Sunday?
I did. You just went over me.
Maybe I
yelled at me.
Because then no, I didn't.
Why are you hysterical?
I probably did yell at you. No, I mean. Okay, that makes sense, I guess, but that just means we're gonna suck again.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Are you willing? That's what I was kind of asking. Are you willing to dive into another 100 loss year,
like the 2016 suck, the 2017 suck?
Yeah.
Right. Where we just
got rid of
2018.
Well, but we got rid of everybody in 2017. Yeah. 2018 had a little bit of hope that we were gonna see some people come up.
But that didn't happen.
That did not happen. I guess. But if you guys are into it, I'm into it too.
But so you kind of teased it a little bit because you kept saying these two guys, even though I hadn't said two guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The beer's kicking in. I can feel it.
I thought that you had said
ABV's going good. So
sorry.
No, that's fine. I
didn't use your real name.
I was thinking that's true. Here's my thought: if you're going to lose this year, so you got to trade Abreu.
Okay.
Because there's no point in keeping Abreu around only to have him on a really shitty team, right? He's not doing anything for your organization. You've already decided you're going to lose this year. Now, you've decided to lose that year. 2020 probably won't be that much better because there's not a huge free agent class where you can get some game changers coming in. Goldschmidt is about the gold standard, or if you somehow signed 2 or 3 of the high-end pitchers to come in and just dominate, right? Which I don't think they're going to do either. So now you're looking at 2021. This is the last year of Carlos Rodon's arbitration years. If you're not going to compete until then...
When you say this year, you're saying 2021 is the last year.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah. I said 2020, you're
just confirming.
Starting,
you said this year, and I don't want people to get confused.
You're starting to come up.
This is the current year.
You're starting to come up in 2020. In 2021, you're in the last Carlos Rodon arbitration year. So if you're not going to go for it if you're not going to get the guys this year and start moving towards something, do you trade Carlos Rodon?
I'm firmly of the position that you do trade Jose Abreu. And in fact, I would even consider trading Jose Abreu with signing those big fish, although I could see not doing it. So if you get Harper or Machado, I could see holding Abreu as just sort of a, hey, we're going to try to be as good as possible, even though we aren't going to win shit this year deal. But I can also see trading him because there are first basemen out there who'll give you 80% of Abreu for a quarter of his price. Yeah. So I could totally see trading him and then trying to work out with him after next year. Say, hey, do you want to come back? Figure that out or decide maybe you don't want that. With Rodon, I absolutely would not. And the only reason I wouldn't is because you're selling extremely low. You got to let him rebuild some of his value. You've got to let him have a season where he's, in theory, healthy and go out there and actually pitch well. What could you really get for Rodon right now? You're not going to get anything.
You're not going to get anything.
You're going to sell him low, and then if he turns out, you're really going to be giving up a lot for not a minimal return. I wouldn't do it.
Unless the person or the team we're selling him to has the same expectations as the Sox have with Nate Jones, we're not going to get a good return. So, meaning that the Sox see something in Nate Jones that they keep re-signing this guy. Exactly right. All right, so we need to find a team that will
see the same
say that there's still a lot of potential in Carlos Rodon, so let's sign that motherfucker. Sight unseen. It's a guy that buys a car on Craigslist with no fucking pictures.
That's right.
Okay. And see, I think
what the fuck sounds
with
great.
With left-handed starting pitchers, those teams exist in the MLB.
That's probably
I know James Paxton has pitched better than Carlos Rodon.
Yes, much better.
But I see him in a similar light of I don't know if this guy's going to stay healthy. I don't know what he's actually going to be this year. And the Yankees gave up a lot for him. So I'm wondering, what's the tier down from that we could get for Carlos Rodon to a Milwaukee Brewers or someone else that is just starving for pitching, right? Because those teams are out there. I mean, we're one of them, but the teams are out there. And I wonder, how much do you want to just use Carlos Rodon in terrible years if 19 and 20 are going to be terrible?
Well, you make a good point. I think that they're leaving a little bit more meat on the bone with 2 years. That's some team might pounce at that, but and I think Beefloaf is correct too. I don't think his trade value is very high right now.
So let me ask you this, Beefloaf: if we go through 2019, it's going to be a down year, right? Let's say we don't sign anybody, it's going to be a down year,
right?
Rodon is having a fantastic year through the first half. You're trading him.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Sure. I'd be willing to trade him, yeah. He's got to build a trade value. I don't know if a first half would do it, actually. I think a team would want to see him throw an entire season. because of the way his health record's been and how shaky he's been in general.
And
you see
especially at the end of the
flashes.
season.
Exactly. Yeah, they want to see him. They would want to see him go through it. They'd want to see him wear down. I think you could trade him in the offseason potentially. But it all depends on how they want to reinforce this stuff. And truth be told, there are a lot of arms sort of coming, right? That aren't quite ready yet, that are injured, etc.
Mine later.
So you're going to have some room, in theory, to move some of those arms in there. And if Han's good at finding these cheap Ivan Novas, you can refill that spot and trade away that player.
Ivan Supernova.
Yes.
Guys, sidebar. I just checked. The first beer we drank, the Cosmo Pale, is a 5%er. Okay,
That's pretty weak.
The new Hell Kitty Kitty, the Belgian style pale ale, is a 7%er.
Okay, so we're up in the ante.
This is going to get a little
like it.
interesting.
Up in the ante.
took a sip and I felt my ears get warm, and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
it's go time, fellas.
One last thing before we leave the
Sorry, dude.
White Sox player topics.
Yeah.
Teresa E., your thoughts on Ryan Goins?
Oh boy.
Have a drink.
What a signing. What an incredible.
When I saw it, I thought of you instantly. I thought, I can't wait what the hell Teresa has to say about it. Then you tweet something about if you see a 607 OPS, you can't pass it up.
You know what I forgot to look at? He is a utility infielder. I don't know how tall he is.
Yeah, I don't know how tall he is.
If he's
either.
tall, maybe it was a great move. Maybe it was the Marwin Gonzalez of this offseason.
That's key. Height is key.
Actually, Marwin Gonzalez is the Marwin Gonzalez of this offseason, but whatever the fuck. So before we leave just the White Sox stuff, I want to throw out a congratulations to my alleged neighbor. Harold Baines is going to the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I am psyched.
I am too.
Fucking love Harold Baines. I think he is just fantastic. I think it's so well deserved. The guy revolutionized a position, right? He did it for 20 years. So, congratulations, Harold Baines. Fantastic. I mean, I'm seriously considering. I didn't get to go to the Frank induction. I'm seriously considering.
Are they going to do that?
Going out to the Harold induction?
Teresa, I've thought about it as well. I've thought about it. I mean,
like, this is childhood heroes.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. So, him and Ozzy, those are like the two where I would be like, if they get in, I gotta go. And I kind of feel like at least me and Beef Loaf got to get out there.
As a kid, those lean years, man.
That's
that was all you had.
That's
That was
all
all
you
you
had.
had.
It's like kids who are growing up now watching Jose Abreu,
Right.
and just being like, "This is all we have to hang on to."
Yeah.
Or watch Chris Sale, and this is all we have. That was what it was like to watch Harold Baines in the '80s. Like
Right.
that was it.
He was the only guy who was going to make the All-Star team, and then it was like
Kenny Williams wasn't making the All-Star team.
You'd watch the fucking All-Star game just to see Harold get his one fucking at bat in that All-Star game. He'd pop up or something. You'd be like, it would usually be anticlimactic, but you glued to the TV just to see your guy.
Yeah.
Back when the game was way more regional, there was not MLB.TV. You had your fucking team. We could watch the Cubs too. Fuck the Cubs. I mean, we watched them, but fuck them, you know. And it was like you see the White Sox and just see Harold Baines out there with the other one, and then during their games you just wait for his at bat. It would be so soul crushing to go to the ballpark and then Harold Baines is the day off.
Oh no! Yes,
It's the worst thing ever, right? It's the worst. Nowadays you can never replicate that. There's no like. The only thing worse would be like when we went to that one game and Chris Sale was supposed to start, and then they had Matt Albers on the scoreboard. That's the equivalent of what it was like Harold Baines.
At least we got very tight jerseys to wear.
That's true. That's true.
That's why we all go to 81 games now.
Yes.
And then we can weather the storm of the disappointment of not seeing Chris Sale start a game.
That's correct.
Watching El Nino start a game.
So now that we brought up Harold Baines, Beeflo, I feel like there's something that got your man bun all knotted up over the Harold Baines Hall of Fame induction. So why don't you lay it down?
Thank you.
Get angry. Give us your fucking rant on this.
I will. So Sunday night, we were sitting around the Beef Cave. This was after the Sunday soak, and we're drinking a few beers. We're getting ready to watch the Bears game, which Bears great win over the LA Rams. And Twitter pops with the fact that Harold Baines and Lee Smith are going to go to the Hall of Fame. And so initially, I'm not sure about you guys, I was surprised. Delighted and surprised, but I was like, I didn't see this coming.
I didn't even know this was in play.
I didn't know there was a committee doing anything.
I knew there was a committee.
You knew about the committee? Yeah, so okay, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
And then it happens. I was just sort of, I was at first surprised, and I was like, oh my God, Harold. And I was really happy. Like, I was really happy before that game even started, the Bears game, and we were getting psyched to watch that game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, man. One of my favorite players from growing up, a guy who I watched all my childhood's getting the Hall of Fame. And then I looked deeper and deeper into Twitter over the next 24 hours. And I continued to read more and more shade about Harold Baines' Hall of Fame induction, about how he's, it ruins legitimacy of these things, and they should get rid of these committees, and a lot of besmirching not only his performance, but the fact that he went into the Hall of Fame. I know the baseball crowd likes to drape themselves in numbers, and I do too. All right, I like looking at all this stuff, right? But truth be told, times change, and some of these numbers that we know now or that we think about now as being superior weren't back then, and they won't be 20 years from now.
Right.
Okay? So there's a little more to this. It's also a museum. So some of what you're doing by creating a Hall of Fame is telling a story, less than what mechanical exact numbers are the ones that need to go into the box here. It's not exactly that. What was even more hilarious, though, with all the stat nerds was the crux of their arguments against Harold Baines were mostly narrowed down to WAR. Because if you take some of the traditional stats, Harold's pretty high up, especially for the years he played. And the reason he's high up is he played for a long time. And he was very good for a long time.
Yes.
So that's something else to consider. His 40-year-old season is a ridiculous season that I would fucking kill for on the current White Sox. But what made it so funny was everyone who was talking shade about Harold were fine with Lee Smith. Lee Smith, by B-WAR, has 10 less WAR than Harold Baines. So all I thought was, hey, stat nerds, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you know what the fuck you're talking about? You fucking knuckleheads. Look, baseball has many faults, but one of the things I see on these Twitter streets is there's a lot of people that try to look smart by sort of policing the Hall of Fame or sort of policing this next thing. I see tons of people write this way. I see, and I've actually tried to get away from a lot of the people who sort of write this way. There's the original stat people, their goal was not to show how smart they were. It was to understand things and understand how things work. And there's a way to do this without acting like this. And my guy Nassim Taleb would call the people who are dunking on Harold right now, he'd call them the IYI. You know what IYI stands for?
I do not. I know what GFY stands for. And I learned what spit roast means today.
It is intellectual yet idiot. Okay? Wrap your mind around that. It's you think you have a grasp of things, but maybe you really don't. Okay? The other sports don't seem to have a problem with this at all. The other sports don't have arguing over credibility of the Hall of Fame or so-and-so's numbers don't mean a certain thing. No, they don't view their Hall of Fames like that. The Basketball Hall of Fame, if you made some sort of substantial impact, you get in. And it didn't have to be professionally. It doesn't have to be professionally in the United States. And in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they have a minimum amount of people they want in every time. Well, why? Because this is for the fans. This is a museum. This is about telling stories. So all the pussies out there holding on to their fucking numbers don't understand any of what this is about. I'm not a big Hall of Fame guy, admittedly. I've never been to the Hall of Fame. I'm excited for people that get into the Hall of Fame. To hear eggheads and idiots and people who don't understand stuff, it's fine to love numbers. And I love the argument of who's better than who and that sort of thing. But a lot of what I saw was shade. A lot of what I saw were idiots trying to look smart. Get the fuck out of here and get the fuck out of Harold Baines going to the Hall of Fame. Fuck you. And stop trashing Harold Baines.
Yeah. I'm 100% with that.
And
speaking to your museum piece, right? Like, for you guys that are in your let's say you're in your 30s, you're closer to our age, 30s, early 40s type guys with young kids, right? Who want to eventually take your kids out to the Hall of Fame and show them, like, this is the Baseball Hall of Fame. This is what I care about. I'm passionate about this. I want you to be passionate about this. When you show them the David Ortiz statue in there that will be in there in a few years, right? And they go, oh shit, I know who David Ortiz is. He's in the Gatorade commercials and he's the asshole on TV that and you go, and they ask you because they're going to look up at you and go, Dad, who was the best DH when you were my age? You fucking better say Harold Baines, and you can walk him over to him now. If you don't induct that guy, you go, it was Harold Baines, but they don't put him in the Hall of Fame because they don't fucking care about this being a museum. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's all I've got about the Hall of Fame.
I can't. I don't want a sloppy second up in this vag after you just destroyed it, Pat. God damn it!
7%.
7%. It's kicking.
Drink.
Have a drink. I think what happened early in the Twitters after he got selected is the narrative was put out there that he was somehow subpar to everybody else that's in the Hall of Fame. And I would challenge any person that said that he was subpar to go person by fucking person from the Hall of Fame, and you tell me who deserves to be in there and who doesn't deserve to be in there. It's a timepiece. It's a shot in there.
That's right.
And you know what? We all saw the video. Hopefully we all saw the video of Harold talking about his father.
Fucking beautiful.
And when he getting in. And fuck you if you think that he's not supposed to be there because of some bullshit statistic that somebody made up somewhere and is crunching numbers and going, war, the fucking B war, the J war, the J-O war.
Not to mention when you talk about numbers, part of the reason that Harold didn't get votes when he was up when he was up to go in was because people didn't understand that on base percentage was so much more important than average when he was a nominee. He ended his career with like a 350 on base percentage. That's fucking insane to think about, right? Because in a time period that had average above everything, this guy knew the value of just getting on base for his teammates.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. He was my favorite player growing up. I mean, definitely, easily. He was my first starting lineup figure. Still have it. Didn't sell it. I know that's probably shocking to some people. But the first time I met him was at Sox Fest, and Farmer Matt and Papa MSS were there. And I went up to him to have him autograph something. And I said to him, you were my favorite player growing up. And he kind of looked at me, nodded, signed the shit, and then that was it. Like, didn't say to me, hey, thanks, I really appreciate that, right? So later in the day, we're in a panel, and they were talking about Harold, and Kittle was in there, and they were talking about how Harold doesn't talk and doesn't say anything. And this was before I knew, I think most of us knew, before the whole evidently, thing was a thing. So, yeah, and my cousin looks at me and goes, does that make you feel better about your interaction with your favorite baseball player growing up? And I said, yes, actually it does, because now I know he doesn't. And the second, well, not the second interaction, but Gobbles Jim, Uncle Rico used to have really good status at hotels because he travels all the time. Well, there was a floor at the Hilton in downtown Chicago where we would go have breakfast every morning, and Harold and Kittle were there every fucking morning. So we're sitting there, and Kittle will talk to a beer can if it's sitting in front of him. But Harold doesn't really talk, but he interacts, and he laughs at Kittle. He likes Kittle. But we're sitting there, and Wally Money goes up to have him autograph a jersey for the third time because the fucking markers he's used before are not working. So Harold's like, I've already signed this twice. Do I need to sign this again? And that's what he says to Wally. And then the second thing he says to us is, how did you guys get up here?
He looked at you guys. You guys don't belong up here.
But after the third year of us being up there and having breakfast with him, he knew who we were. Well, he at least acknowledged who we were and didn't ask us how we got there. So it was really nice. But we were watching Kittle crush 7 bowls of fucking oatmeal and then eating all of the scrambled eggs that are there and all the bacon. So
he's a big boy, man.
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
He's a good eater.
They don't have that anymore, so we do not have free breakfasts anymore. So Jim brought us a bunch of turkey, and we just eat a bunch of turkey. It's great.
So to just wrap that up, congrats, Harold.
Congrats.
Absolutely, Harold.
Fantastic that he's getting into the Hall. Very
Evidently.
excited.
And motherfuck you guys.
Let's maybe do a little 108 down in Cooperstown when he gets in there.
Sounds like a
I might
plan.
be down.
All right, on to the winter meetings.
Ooh.
Beeflo, if you had a question about the winter meetings that I found intriguing, so I'd like you to bring that up now.
Sure. I was I was thinking about the winter meetings as they are now, and then I was kind of trying to think back about them. And the stories you hear from back in the day is like the GMs would all go to some location, Vegas, New Orleans, whatever, Florida. And they would get in one spot and they would go to the bars and drink, and then it would be fodder for, trade talks or whatever other stuff was going on. And you would hear beat reporters from those eras talking about how interesting it was and like staying out till 5 a.m. with these guys and just all this stuff. And it got me wondering, the face of baseball front offices has changed a lot in the last 25 years. There's very few players that are involved. Truth be told, I think the only 2 players that come to mind that have high-level positions in front offices right now are Kenny Williams and Billy Beane. I think that's it for players to be like way up as one of the top 2 spots. And now a lot of what you're seeing are like B school people, Ivy League kids. Not kids. I mean, Theo Epstein's our age or whatever the fuck. But you know what I mean. You're seeing a lot of people coming from a different background to go into this and a different mindset. So my thought process was, do the Ivy Leaguers, the current front office folk, the high-level front office folks, do they get into the 108ing as hard now at the winter meetings as those guys of yesteryear?
See, I think you're a nerdite here. You're a rabid anti-nerdite.
It's starting to happen. It's coming through right now. The beer is coming through.
It is coming through, yes.
I can hear
It's
it.
flowing.
I think you think because a guy is an Ivy League guy, or is it, he's got a master's or a PhD, the guy can't fuck shit up, right?
That's not what I think.
I think it
not what I think at all.
When you said this, it reminded
I've seen
me.
you on the defensive.
It reminded me of.
It
reminded me of Mallrats when Randall's all pissed off. He's like, "What? Just because a guy reads comics, he can't start some shit?" I'm like, I think as a collective, we know guys from UFC, MIT,
We do.
Harvard, right?
Yes, we
who
do.
can drink it up with the best of them. So I think that you're not seeing what can really happen here. I think these guys are getting just as fucked up. They're drinking different stuff. There's probably some guys shotgunning Trulies. There's probably some guys doing like O-bombs and Jaeger bombs and shit.
What's an
so
O-bomb?
It's not Bacardi-O.
Okay.
Maybe not the same shit that you're used to with these guys, right? Like a bunch of guys drinking Crown Royal in a room, right?
Or a good scotch.
And smoking cigars. You're talking about guys, drinking some high-end scotch and getting all fucked up,
all on that
But
pappy.
I think these guys are getting just as fucked up as those old GMs are.
I mean, I'd prefer. I won't say where I work, but you have a rough idea of what I do.
It's not McDonald's.
The firm that I work for has,
They'd have McRibs all year round.
has a lot of these types of folks working at it. Okay, and once or twice a year, I end up at functions with them in which there is drinking involved. And it's very much a mixed bag. There are some of them that will hit it hard and can party really hard and could sort of just do it. And there's some of them that are very measured. They'll have their 1 or 2 drinks so that they look social, so that they look the part, and then they move the hell out of there. And so there's sort of a culture in which it's not like the old school. It's sort of you got to be able to maintain first, and then that other stuff comes later. So it is an advantage if you can party and drink a lot and maintain and still be witty and smart and all this stuff. And I know some guys, and they can do it, and there's others that don't. I don't see them attempt to do it.
I think in the baseball realm, though, because there's all the old school guys still around, right? The scouts and the different guys
Well,
that are
less and less
important to the team. and the players themselves, right? Like, you got to be a guy amongst the players, right? So I think that that still exists. Like, there's still a machismo to all of this, and these guys may be Ivy League guys, but they're passing up big money in other industries to do something in a sport that they love.
If I had to guess, Teresi, I would say there is much more Adderall and cocaine use than there is alcohol abuse.
Oh,
like a thing like this.
Yeah, that was assumed. I'm sorry. I assumed.
I meant the bend an elbow in a bar.
I'm trying to say it's different, right?
Yeah.
Like they can drink all night because they're coked out of their gourd.
I thought they don't drink all night because they're coked out of their gourd.
Oh, I don't think you've hung out with a lot of cokeheads that
popped out all that coke, whatever. And then just started taking some sleeping pills. To go
think about back in the day when it was like the Red Bull and vodka days, right? When you had all those friends where you're like, this guy's super drunk and he can't go to sleep. This is annoying.
The Four Loko nights.
That is the cocaine and whiskey crew that you see out in Vegas right now. That's why you don't hear from half of these fucking writers until 2:30 in the afternoon the next day.
I think, first of all,
Ken Rosenthal
was missing.
He was missing. He was missing.
I want to say
that's hookers. That's not cocaine.
Hey, I don't know.
Else, right?
I don't know what he's into. He's into something.
I want to say the best times of this blog / friendship / podcast / hot tub show is when you guys don't necessarily agree with each other and you guys are like having like a little squab, and it's great. I like watching you two not agree and having discussions. It's fun as a guy that never had a brother and only had a sister to like watch you guys like kind of like when Beefloaf is like being like he's not totally sure, he like makes himself small. And he's not a small guy. And he like, he smalls in, and he's like, no. And he's really short, quick answers. And Teresi's over there just like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's a fun thing to do that I'm sure that you guys would see if I had a brother too that was sitting next to me that we could have discussions about too. But I don't have a brother. I only have a sister, and she doesn't really like baseball. So, yeah, whatever.
My Sock Summer, as children, when we would argue, I'm substantially bigger than Teresi.
Yes.
I've been substantially bigger than Teresi since we were kids.
Yeah, we were never a similar size.
No, not even close. I was 13 years old. I was 6 feet, 180 pounds. I mean, I was like a grown man. I was always much bigger. We were getting arguments like this. Teresi would always get violent with me when we were kids. By the time we got to like 10 or something like that, all that stuff stopped. But like he'd be the violent one. He'd be the aggressor, like trying to come at me.
I believe it. So I don't think that I think once baseball became a business, that the fun times stopped.
I don't think so.
No, I think they did. And I'm going to say, and I don't think that some of the things were bad, right? I still think we were on the field for Pearl Jam in 2016, and who's walking around on the field next to us? Who do we get in or not introduced to? But we were
right next to him. We didn't even realize.
We didn't realize
right by Theo.
Because Theo.
I saw Ricketts that night
chilling,
too. Ricketts was the drunkest motherfucker in the place.
And
we were pretty drunk.
So
Ricketts is trust fund baby. Theo's legendary. I agree. Theo gets down. There's no question about that.
I think the only thing that's changed. The only thing that has changed. Well, not the only thing, but one of the things that has changed is that you have guys that are incredibly smart and now are going into the business side of things and making things more and more profitable versus a guy that was like a shuckster who was trying to make money. And one of the ways that you make money is you take that guy out, you get him drunk,
sure,
and then you fucking make the deal.
Yeah.
And I think that like the sell is way different now than it was back then.
I would love to know a story. I would love to know a story about like a trade that happened with some GM was so fucked up.
Oh, right? Sure.
Like, I mean, like how fucked up was Hawk when he traded Bobby Bonilla?
I don't think that
he probably lost Bobby Bonilla in a card game. That's probably the untold story. Like The Hawk memoirs that you didn't get to hear, and you want to hear until after he dies. He lost Bobby Bonilla in a card game.
It was like when Ray Gibson lost his daddy's watch. That's the same scenario.
I mean, because it wasn't. I mean, I don't think that the money wasn't there before, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So now that the money's there, now it's a huge deal.
Sure.
So who do we hire in? We hire in the Ivies, right? We get these
hire in
guys,
CEOs.
I mean,
manage these companies, right?
What can't the Ivy League guys do? They write for The Simpsons.
Well, according to Beefloaf, they can't drink.
No, they can drink. They just choose not to.
Some of them do. Some of them do, and some of them don't. I mean, sure, yeah. So yeah, we've covered this.
All right. So on to the
Spike
next
that
topic.
fucking football.
Speaking of irrelevant shit, let's talk Rule 5 draft. I think so. Like I said, it's Wednesday night. Tomorrow, probably the day that you're listening to this, because you're going to listen to it immediately.
Of course,
is Thursday, the 13th, the day of the Rule 5 draft. Ooh, baby!
Oh boy!
People get very excited for the Rule 5 draft. They get worried about the guys that have been left out of the 40-man roster from their teams that might get picked up. Because
Jake Peter memories. Teresa.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, this year, Spencer Adams. Everyone's freaking out. So we want to talk a little bit about, is the Rule 5 draft even important? Should you spend your time thinking about it? And I think Beefloaf and I will agree in a resounding no.
No, you should not.
It's very unimportant. So the Rule 5 draft has been around for a little over 50 years now, I believe. In that time, we've had about 30 guys who have actually made an all-star game after being drafted in the Rule 5 draft, right? And some of these guys are good. Some of these, you're going to be impressed by some of these guys. Like back in the day when the Rule 5 draft was a little bit different, where you could get like actual top guys, Roberto Clemente and Hack Wilson, two Hall of Famers, both in the Rule 5 draft. You can't get those guys in the rules today.
You said the Rule 5 draft's been around 50 years, but Hack Wilson was played 100 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is like there's
different incarnations of the Rule 5 draft.
Before the exact Rule 5 draft, there were guys that you could pick up because of they were like a top draft pick that wasn't in the majors yet.
Got it. Okay, got it. So similar idea.
Yeah, but
so this is covering the existence of baseball then.
Yeah.
And you're only getting 30 All-Stars and you got 2 Hall of Famers.
But like in the past 30 years that the rules have changed.
Right.
But let me give you some of the top guys that have been through this. So like Johan Santana, what a fantastic guy to get out.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Joaquim Soria.
That's your buddy.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. It's a closer,
Very good in his prime.
Dan Uggla. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I wish Yohan Moncada become fast Dan Uggla.
Right?
I'd be so happy.
Shane Victorino.
Oh, man.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Flying Hawaiian.
And now we're getting into the Bip Roberts. Okay.
He was San Diegoite.
He's a baseball player, right?
Yeah, he sure is.
Manny Trujillo.
Oh, yeah.
Manny Trio.
Mike North used to have a Manny Trio thing. He's like, Manny Trio would play baseball all year round. He goes, so in the beginning of the year with the Cubs, he'd be hitting 400 in May, but he'd get tired because he's been playing baseball for 12 months, and by then in the year he's hitting 240.
Jose Bautista? Feeling Jose Bautista. But after that, it's guys like Darren O'Day, right? Fernando Vina, Scott Pasednik, guys that you think, these guys were pretty good. Okay, I talked about Pasednik, he's an okay guy who I loved, right?
Yeah.
All of these guys fall into that, right? Darren, Jeff Nelson, Kelly Gruber, your guy.
Yes.
Kelly Gruber. Not Hans Gruber.
Yes.
Kelly Gruber.
I watched Hans Gruber fall off Nakatomi Plaza this weekend.
The most recent one that's probably a reasonable guy that you'd be excited about getting is Odubel Herrera. But overall, over this long span of time, there's very few guys that have made a real impact on a team. And so this year, there's I don't know, a 30% chance that one of these guys make some kind of impact on the team.
Right.
Like if I'm looking at the notable selections of all time, your guy TJ McFarland is on here.
Yep.
Maybe.
Everyone listening to this, if you were worried about losing TJ McFarland, there's something wrong with you. Like, good guy,
Very good guy.
but like,
Is that sort of my Sox Summer shade right there?
is that
A little
something-
shade in my Sox
That's
Summer?
what I
It feels like it is.
I don't
It feels
think-
like shade, yeah.
I don't think it is. All right, let me use a different guy who's a notable guy listed here is Guillermo Mota. Are you worried about you losing Guillermo Mota?
I don't
And
even
he's-
know what a Guillermo Mota is.
He's one of the
I don't
most
either. Have a drink.
notable dudes ever drafted in the Rule 5. It's very unimportant.
You Googled that shit.
I did. This is all
Yeah.
from the Wikipedia page, which never lies.
The Wikipedia.
But the
McDowell
idea here is
All-American.
like there's not that many guys that are even notable from the Rule 5 draft. Most teams don't even take someone in the Rule 5 draft. You will be surprised how little happens on Thursday. So just don't even care. If in 3 years, some guy from the Sox that was in the Rule 5 draft is a player on the team, you go, oh shit, we got that guy in the Rule 5
had
draft.
that guy.
Pretty awesome job, Rick Hahn. We're proud of you. But that's about it. Don't
Right.
worry about who we lose in it, who gets picked up in it. It's very inconsequential.
Treasy, if I can add on, not only is it inconsequential through the history of time, but now, as we're in an era where everyone hoards the fuck out of their prospects, it's even more inconsequential. It's even more, we'll protect that high upside guy that's in A-ball over this yo-yo that's in AAA that maybe could be on your roster, but he's not going to be shit ever.
Right.
So everyone's sort of doing that also. So it's even tougher for anyone to find anybody in sort of a Rule 5 situation that's going to be that productive. And I know the Astros have all kinds of cameras all over their fucking stadium and can monitor everything, but still, I would be shocked in this era. Yeah, exactly. I'd be shocked in this era if you find much in Rule 5 draft.
All right.
I'll take, hey, side note, when I was down in Florida, TJ's folks were down there, and they were talking that he definitely was tendered a contract with the Diamondbacks, but he could obviously still get traded. And I know his agent was looking, for something. I don't know. They were doing something. And I did make my pitch to his dad that he should come closer to the south side, come play on the south side.
Well, if he was tendered a contract, that means that
So there, he's not going anywhere.
yeah, he's got to negotiate that contract now,
Okay,
which
so
is great.
he's gonna do that.
So
So, yeah,
he's
he
gonna
was
get,
tendered. He was
he's going to get at least what that tender is.
Yeah, and I think
He might get more.
and it's a pretty sizable amount of money for a guy that
That's awesome.
who plays baseball, which
Like-
was awesome.
I love that he's getting that. I just wanted to bring him up.
Oh
It's
no,
like-
I'm not
it's
defending
like
him to
if,
you.
if someone's listening to this and they're like, "Who the fuck is TJ McFarland?" Like we all know who he is.
Yeah,
but
that's
like
my
if-
wife's cousin.
If you don't know who it is, that's the kind of guy that goes in Rule 5 draft. So
Yeah.
that's what you got to think about. Like this is a middle reliever.
And he's been a minimal impact player in the MLB, but
middle relievers are important. You got to
he's
get those
got-
guys.
You need him.
He was enough. He made enough of a noise to have a lot of haters in Baltimore. So it was all good.
So it's about time for the overtime.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So my question of the week is: would you give up ballpark beers in 2019 season to land Bryce Harper? Now, two stipulations. Okay, we can still pre and post game, but we cannot drink any beers in Section 108 at the ballpark during the game.
All right. So I thought about this,
All right.
and you did say beers.
Yes, beers.
So that would be, to me, I would 100% say yes.
Okay.
I will give up beers for this season.
For the entire season.
entire season.
Okay.
Which just for me makes it a hard liquor season.
Yep.
Now, there's two scenarios here that we can break down. I can either buy Cornsey another full season ticket so that she could use the tampon flasks to get in all the booze. Or I could save even more money and just use the prison wallet to get all my booze in. Now,
Butt booze.
Actually, I was thinking the accelerator from Wally Money's prison wallet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to drink
entire
from
pregame.
I'm not
to
going
lube
to
him up.
I'm
make
not
sure
going to
he's
drink
all
from
set
his,
up for us.
Not drinking from his prison wallet.
Well, apparently half the time he just throws it in the side pocket of his cargo shorts, and then he wonders why it gets taken away. So.
But yeah, I feel like sneaking that booze in would be the optimal scenario in that. But if you were talking like full, like we're just not going to drink in the 108, I'd need much more than Harper. Like, because if we just get Harper, like I've talked about this before, if we just get Harper, that's not enough. That's not a team that's going to win.
No, that's still a bad team.
Like a division or a World Series. Like, you need to add on to that. Like, there's Harper plus. Now, if you said Harper plus Machado, would I give up drinking for the entire year during the game?
Yeah.
I would say yes. All
right.
But I would develop the worst cocaine habit you've ever seen.
That was exactly my thoughts. I thought, what's the upside downside of me developing a ridiculous yayo habit that I have to live with, and I might stay with it.
I mean, and here's the thing.
Downsides are potentially really bad. Like, I don't think I want to do that. So.
Here's the thing. Both of us have gigantic noses.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't want to do blow with you.
Like,
and nobody, there aren't two people on Earth who love caffeine more than us. So, like, the
God.
whole uppers thing, like, that's a really bad idea for us. Like, it feels really bad.
Like,
you guys would
it
get
would
crazy
be like
skinny, though.
It would be like Rick James levels of cocaine, which is what I worry about.
There's no question about it.
So the answer is, if we sign Harper and Machado, huge cocaine habits for the 108.
That's right.
Written in blood.
Beef? What do you got? Is that it? Same thing.
That's it. I'm with him. The yayo habit.
All right.
Now let's pay some bills.
Well, fuck.
Oh, did you have? Are you going to not drink?
I'm not going to talk about it then.
Wait, no. Give me.
Are you good? It's all good. No. I would definitely give up beers for Harper for sure. Yeah, easily. And same thing. I don't think I could do the pregame and just postgame beers because I would have a wicked headache in the middle of the game. Not drinking. So
that's the problem.
That would be the biggest problem. So yeah, I would definitely move.
So what if we're all yacked out?
Well, if we're yacked out, then it don't even matter.
I've got another scenario.
I had some delicious Pepsi in those yacked out stages. All right. So.
And one more scenario here. We could extend the pregame a lot longer and go to the game in the 5th inning. What do you guys think about that? We could maybe do shots on the way to the ballpark, then roll in. We'll be drunk. We'll finish the last 4 innings out, and then we'll get to the post.
I just imagine us passing like a bottle of JMO on the way to the
as we walk to the ballpark.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I think there's a way to do this where we could actually. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to just like. I don't want to be a prima donna and choose my health over the White Sox fan base health of getting Bryce Harper. That seems extremely selfish.
That does seem selfish. That does seem selfish.
All right. So, holidays got you down? Has that high school sweetheart relationship gone sour? Need to leave your current home before your dick of a husband gets drunk with the boys again and breaks more of your great-grandmother's china? Call Dan at Dutch Movers. With 25 years experience, he's seen your situation before, and he won't judge. His crew can pack you up and move you safely into your new home sweet home. Maybe he'll even let you stay the night so you aren't scared that your husband will come by to change and try to make you change your mind. At 6'7" and 10 inches, he's not the man you mess with, even in a good way. God damn it. Ready to make that change? Call Dan at 708-331-2990 and get that appointment booked. Life is too short to deal with an asshole. Make that change and start LIVING. And as always, if it ain't Dutch, it ain't much.
We were totally unprepared for that. He has not shown us that ad read.
Treasy, I'll be honest with you. My Sox summer read that to me on the ride over, I almost drove off the road. I'm laughing my ass off at that thing. And I was like, when he read the first ad read, I'm like, oh shit, he's not going to use it. I'm like, and then I forgot about it, and then he brought it in at the end.
All right, it is time
That's
for...
what we call off the cuff, folks.
Last call. Yes. B-Flow, kick us off.
I'd love to. I spent last night watching a couple of ESPN 30 for 30s.
Yep.
The first one I watched, my Sox summer had brought it to my attention, was the Bob Knight 30 for 30. I can't stand Bob Knight. I've hated Bob Knight forever. Most of it having to do with that 30 for 30. And so I was angry and like pissed off and like wanted to punch him in his big fat fucking face. And then I sat there and I stayed in front of the TV. And the next 30 for 30 was the Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas 30 for 30. So it brought back some fond memories. This was 1990. This is the Tokyo Dome. It was supposed to be Mike Tyson's fight before Evander Holyfield. He was a tune-up fight or whatever. They had Sonny Vaccaro on there. It was hilarious. He's like, yeah, we set the line at 20-1, 25-1, 37-1. Finally, when they got to 42-1, they finally started to get Buster Douglas money. And he said there was one guy who ended up winning like $160,000 on Buster Douglas or something like that. So someone did put some substantial money on the 42-1 Buster Douglas. So the story's great.
Probably Billy Walters.
I mean, check it out if you haven't seen it before. If you don't know anything about it or know anything about boxing. Treasy and I watched that because it was on HBO. So we watched the shit live. And I remember it being an incredible sporting event. And I'm 12-year-old me or 11-year-old me or however old I am. I couldn't fucking believe what I just saw. It just didn't, like you, at that age, Mike Tyson couldn't be beat. And this guy whipped his ass. So my question for you guys is, what sporting event have you seen that you afterwards you were just like, that was unbelievable. I can't believe I just fucking watched that shit. You know, something of the realm of Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson's ass.
So, Mr. Loaf reminded me of this today. And I think he on further reflection, immediately I said he was wrong and said that there was other things that were more shocking. But he was probably correct. And it was 2005 Illinois versus Arizona.
Oh my goodness!
So let's just set the stage. Illinois is having the killer year that we know they had in 2005, and they had lost one game to Ohio State.
Beefloaf just walked away.
Yeah, he walked away. Have a drink. And it was a great season. They almost lost in the opening round of the tournament, but because they didn't almost lose. They didn't cover. Because I think it was a 28-point spread. And that was when I decided I am not betting 28-point spreads in the tournament ever again.
That's a solid call.
Unless it's Duke. Duke usually covers, like for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, so I remember watching that game. I was sitting at my local watering hole in called Center Fields in Huntington Beach. And they had I got a phone call at halftime from a good friend of mine who just happens to be an Arizona fan. And he calls me and he goes, hey, fucking, we're kicking your ass or something, whatever. And I just remember responding, the fucking game's over now. You just fucking jinxed them. Fuck you. Hung up. And then Illinois mounted the most terrific comeback of any sports thing, any sports game that I had probably watched at that point. And I was shocked that they came back, but I also knew that they could beat Arizona. And my favorite part of that game is watching Lou Holtz on the sidelines drinking his fucking coffee as Illinois is just ass fucking them into like get this game over. I mean, it was great. He was just really chill and whatever. He didn't give a fuck. He's already won an NC. He didn't care.
I could kind of remember that game. Like, I had the game on, and I wasn't a big Illinois fan, but I was sort of watching them. And I'm like, they're down 15 or whatever. It's like 4 minutes left. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I wasn't paying attention for several minutes. And then I turned back, and they're like down 4 or something. I'm like, what the fuck just happened when I wasn't even looking here? Incredible comeback. One of the best ever.
Yeah. I was still more shocked, still shocked by the national title game loss, but hey, what is what it is.
Fat Sean May kicked your ass.
Yeah, fuck that.
Oh yeah,
remember that shit?
I think Illinois shot 15.
Marvin Williams, was that the UNC team?
Yeah, Illinois shot like 15% in the fucking first half.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I mean, it was bullshit. And I think James Augustine had 4 fouls in the first half against Sean May, and we got motherfucked. But we played through. We only lost by like 4 points or some shit. But
it was a winnable game. Still.
Yeah, I mean, they were still there in that, and I think that speaks to how good of a team they actually were.
For sure.
So they were a fucking great team.
So for me, it was I was 21, that golden age, and Vinny Baseball, my lawyer, he called me up. He's like, "Hey man, bunch of us are going to the Bears game. Got a ticket. You want to get in on this? I said, fucking right, man. Let's
Fog
go.
Bowl.
Let's go to the Bears.
Fog Bowl. We're like 10 years old.
So it's this is 2001. 2001 Bears Niners. Jeff Garcia led 49ers, and they are kicking the shit out of the Bears. I mean, like, they've got us all game. They're up, I think, 14 or 15, something like that, with just a few minutes left in the game. Our guy, Shane Matthews, 2 touchdowns to David Terrell. Now,
These are legendary Bears names.
They are.
No one remembers.
they are. And we're sitting in a fucking end zone. We're like not in the end zone that they're scoring touchdowns in. We're sitting in the end zone in like these shitty seats, and there's fucking 49ers fans next to us. And it's just awful all game. And then those 2 touchdowns happen, and we're going nuts. And Bobo is there. And Bobo's not a small dude. He's a pretty intense dude, if you've ever met him. So these 49ers fans are talking shit to us the whole game. And he is on the edge of our seats, smack dab against the 49ers fans. And the 49ers fans are there, and these 2 touchdowns happen. And the touchdown to put us into overtime, Bobo grabs the 49ers fan next to us and starts shaking him and just going, yeah! Like right in his face. It was an intense moment in my life. The fan was not ready for what was happening. But so we go into overtime, and this whole game, we've assumed we're going to lose, and we've been 108ing like fucking crazy because of it. And so now we're in overtime. There's no more beer sales. It's just a bunch of maniacs with whatever leftover beers they have, which are none. Maybe we'll grab some from the other guys, 49ers fans. And the game ends on a Terrell Owens, like, bounces off his hands into the air. Mike Brown intercepts and runs into the end zone that we're sitting in.
Yes.
So we all start going fucking crazy. Bobo turns to, I don't know what he was going to do to the 49ers fans, but they disappeared like fucking magic. But that was a game where I was like, this game sucks. I'm just going to drink it up. And the last 5 minutes of that game were so fucking incredible. And I was like, I was just at the most incredible Bears win of all time. And then they did the same shit the next week.
It's Cleveland, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Eve, what's your game?
No, I gave mine. It was the Buster Douglas.
Okay. So, my question is, we have a Bears-Packers game this weekend.
Yes.
And that Bears-Packers game could result in 2 things, which is if the Bears win,
right,
it will be the Bears winning the division,
right,
and simultaneously knocking the Packers out of playoff contention. So it'll completely put the Packers out mathematically. It will put the Bears into winning their division. And I remember a similar situation back in the day when the Bulls beat the Pistons to go to the NBA Finals.
right.
And that is when I said, this team's turned the corner.
Yeah, game 4 at the Auburn Palace.
This is it.
You're like, yeah, this is it. We got these guys.
This is the legit Bulls team we've been waiting for. I think the Bears have the chance to do that this weekend. What do the Sox need to do to show you that they've turned the corner from rebuilding team to absolute contender to win the World Series?
Man.
What is that they need to do? B-Fluff, give me what you got.
My initial thought was they've got to win a big series, or whatever, but you were thinking bigger picture here. You're thinking this is when they become a big team. They become a team that's, because the Bulls, that became a team that won 6 championships. The Bears right now, after that win against the Rams, I think they could beat anybody in the NFC. I mean, the only thing that scares me at all is having to go to New Orleans. That's it. I think they beat everybody else's ass if they need to. So it got me thinking, what I need to see is the White Sox have a summer or late summer like the 83 White Sox had, where they just start beating everyone's ass, and they come from the middle of the pack, and they come running and they lap everybody. And there's going to be some crisp September day where we're all trotting over to the ballpark, and the White Sox, it's going to be like a weeknight series against some throwaway bullshit team in the AL, let's say the Royals, because they'll still be rebuilding. And the White Sox have 3 chances at clinching the division, and we'll be going to all those games, and we'll be there with a lot of fans. So I think what it's going to be is more of a runaway summer. It's going to be a 2 months where they win like 40 games, over 2 months, where they really just start housing people, and you start getting the feeling like, oh my God, this is a really good team. It won't be a single series or a single win, because baseball's a little different. I think that's sort of the way it's got to go. It's got to look like that, and then we're going to get to a division about that time.
I think you're 100% correct, and I would go as far as to say a good like second half or first half of the second half. Like just start turning it on, and you see people like when we start going to games at home series, and we are taking these series versus winning 1 game out of 4. Then I'm going to be like, okay, something's happening here. When we're winning 3 games out of 4, then yeah, all right, maybe we're having something's going to happen here,
right?
Because it's not, yeah. I don't think you're right. It can't just be, one single series or one team that you beat, because there's several teams and it's several games, and it's just that's just baseball. That's what makes it the great equalizer. Like that makes the best team win. It's like, yeah.
So I thought one of you guys were going to use the one that I'm gonna eventually get to. So I was going to say, what I need to see them do is just like kind of run down the West Coast, where it's that trip is always terrible for them, right?
Yeah.
So like I want to see them go like 9 of 10 on the West Coast and just do that.
The circus tour,
but
what they call it.
What used to be the basketball circuit.
That's similar,
Yeah.
right? Like you go down the West Coast and you have all these games, and it's exhausting to do that. So like see them get like 10 of 12 or 9 of 10 or something like that on the West Coast, but because you guys didn't use it, I'm going to fucking use it.
You use it.
You know what I need them to do? I need them to start the Cubs' faces for 6 straight games.
Yes.
I want a fucking total sweep, both sides of town.
Right.
Just destroy the fucking Cubs. That's when I will know this is a World Series team. Like, they go up to Wrigley and they fucking sweep them, and the Cardinals fans are just laughing their balls off. Like, that is the scenario that I want to see, to go like, you know what? This is a real fucking Sox team. And you know what? Fuck the whole league. Fuck the whole league, because it's over. If they can do that, it's World Series time.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I mean,
love it.
you got a good point. All right. So I also agree. Bobby Knight is a total douchebag.
No question.
Especially in that 30 for 30. And it wasn't so much of, I wasn't really all that concerned with like how he coached, like his coaching methods and how he was, but just the backdoor shit that he was pulling, where he was motherfucking people in the media, and he was talking shade like on all these people, just indirectly.
Like his treatments of like the secretaries and the teachers and all this shit, like
or even the media, how he would talk to the media. Yeah, okay, so. These guys had really good last call things, and mine is not really all that great. So, well, I mean, it could be. But I've been seeing stuff around, and there's a lot of hashtags, and there's a lot of barstool stuff, and it's the ass-eating season, apparently. So, I'm like, what am I... And it's been going for a while, right? Like, apparently it starts in September and is over in February. I didn't know that. I didn't know it either.
I didn't know the seasonality of it either.
I fucking Googled it up. But I didn't know. I thought maybe it meant something else. I wasn't sure what it meant. But it means exactly what it says. This is apparently the best times if you want to go down and eat a chick's ass or a guy's ass or whatever, like whatever floats your boat. This is the best time to do it, because you're out of the swamp ass summer, and you're into times where your internals, I guess, are not as hot, so there's not as sweaty. So this is the time if you're gonna like chow down on somebody's butthole. Like
so
this is
northern
the time
hemisphere.
to do it.
It's the
Southern hemisphere.
right. It's not ass eating season down there.
Well, you would think though. Okay, so if you're used to the hotness and the crazy
well, no,
summers,
just
The hemisphere.
the hemisphere.
The
So like
hemisphere.
not Florida.
No.
We're talking Argentina or something like that.
So Argentina is probably in the summer. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
Australia
it's-
or whatever.
yeah.
It's opposite. It's got to be opposite.
And
right?
if you're upside down, in
So if you're in Silverchair, you have a different ass eating season
Yes, you do.
than the 108.
So that's
I don't. Okay, so
I don't know why people have embraced this.
I had heard
I
about
don't
the
know
whole
why.
ass eating thing. I'd heard, like, I don't know about it, right? I think here's the first thing where I realized I'm too old to know about this. And I'd heard about it, and I heard that millennials are way into it. Now, I'm a cheerleader for the millennials, although I'm not sure I quite get this deal. But I heard that the millennial males, they don't like tits. They eat ass. They switched. They're out on tits. I don't know if we should celebrate that as tit men.
Is it progressive?
Or if we should be sad for them not enjoying tits the way they should.
It's kind of to each their own. It's a to each their own thing, but I'm befuddled by it. And
It's
using the word befuddled makes me realize I'm way too old to even comment on this. So
I mean, aren't we ass men? Aren't we all like? Don't we all like ass? Doesn't mean you need to eat it.
Right. I mean,
You can enjoy it. You can smack
love.
it.
You can love
grab
putting your
it.
hands
You
all
can
over it.
stroke
And,
it.
yeah,
You can
there's
do all sorts of shit to it.
there's a lot of work to be done without your tongue
Shoving
being
your
involved.
tongue in that
That's
asshole. Right.
And I guess
let me just tell you, just straight up, this is the hard-hitting baseball commentary that you are not going to get from a Ken Rosenthal or even a Ken Rosenthal. So this is what we're bringing you. So I want you to appreciate that as you're listening to this. But go on, continue to talk about eating assholes.
I don't need to talk anymore about it necessarily.
I just think we're at the age where we are concerned about our health. And there's a lot of things that probably need to be done to protect your health if you're going to go into this.
So
we're all bearded, too.
You're not going in all willy-nilly.
We're all
That's
bearded.
I'm
There's a lot getting in the beard
So
in this
You
scenario.
got to shave down, maybe.
I'm going to throw this out to the millennials.
But
that
millennials
follow
are
us.
big beard guys.
Yes,
They are. So
They
they
are.
somehow do all this.
Bearded.
But now,
But wait, they don't have health care. Maybe they don't
Here's
care.
the thing. I eat
ass.
a fucking like really garlicky beef sandwich. I got garlic in my mustache for like weeks. I can still smell it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should shower.
What's going? Get out of here with that. We're in a water crisis, my friend. I'm wondering, the millennials that I talk to, work or at the game or whatever, what are they smelling while they're talking to me? I'm a little disturbed by this now. I'm a little put off.
Here's something that I'm just going to throw out there. I would say 9 out of 10 millennials, while watching a person at Chipotle make their burrito without gloves, without washing their hands, would be totally fucking disgusted that they're going to eat a burrito that was touched by hands that might have like wiped somebody's ass, per se, before they made the burrito. But yet, maybe 6 of those millennials would shove their tongue in somebody's butthole. What does that say? I mean, there could be a side. I mean, do you go flush the butthole before you lick it?
Gotta be, right? I mean, there's gotta be
Or do you
prep
just
work
go
for
right
this.
into it? So here's okay.
There's gotta be prep work.
So now you're talking at a whole new fucking level because you're planning the ass eating.
You're planning it.
I would think that an ass eating thing comes on in the throes of passion. Right?
That's what I want to know.
Like, that's what I
Does
would
it take
think.
longer to get a reservation at Alinea or ass eating reservation? That's what I want to know. You got to clean the colon out. Like, I don't know how it works.
I don't know either.
I am befuddled like Teresa E. I don't know how this works.
I don't
so I
know
want to
how it
know
works
what
either.
takes longer to get moving. Like,
I am literally sitting here trying to think, how do I close this show out?
Yeah, well, I'm
Like,
done talking.
this is literally the last part of the show. How do I? Oh, I get it. This is the ass end of the show. Thank you for enjoying the ass end of the show.
It's ass eating in season.
It is that season. Guys, we will be back on in about 40 seconds on YouTube Live, so go check that out. But we'll have a podcast next week.
Yes.
We'll have the event at Low Res next week, and then we're going to take the Christmas week off, kind of. You might get some videos and stuff from us, but there won't be a podcast. And then we'll be back semi-hard, maybe really hard in January, depending on how the free agency goes. So, guys, thanks a lot for listening.
Cheers.
I know this takes 2 hours of your day every time we do a
appreciate
podcast, but it's just all love. It's all of the juice that we've got. We're giving it out. So
booty juice.
Please enjoy it and give us some feedback on Twitter.
Negative feedback on Twitter.
Negative feedback on Twitter.
Positive wherever you heard.
Wherever you get your podcast, give us 5 stars and give us positive feedback, and then rip us to shreds on Twitter, and we will happily respond and fix our shit as we go. Thank you very much. This is the From the 108 podcast.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.
Deuce.